What's up, Kem?
What's up, dude? I've already regretted my decision of having a coffee because I'm just like you're gonna have to pull me down from the ceiling. You know, like I'm
Uh,
like I'm like I was already like high energy today, and yeah, and I thought, oh, it's like stream, like I should have a coffee. So I knocked one back, and now I'm like, yeah, big
well, dude,
mistake.
cheers to that.
Cheers, dude. Bink. Yeah, nice one, dude. Yeah, how are you?
Good, man. I was reading over the recent news today, and we got a couple big things to cover here.
Sweet, sweet. I'm looking forward to hear. Any stories in particular?
Yeah, this one's important. We're just gonna get right into it. Um,
Okay, okay.
start
Woo.
the start the stream strong. Yeah. So there was a fake OpenAI privacy filter on Hugging Face. It hit
Oh,
number one with over 244,000 downloads.
yeah, this is so bad, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. What do you think about it?
Just blatant malware uploaded onto Hugging Face. And all you have to do is just say that it is an OpenAI privacy tool. And everyone comes flocking. And, dude, I feel like almost a broken record.
Yeah, it's so bad, isn't it? It reminds me of. I don't think they've got. We should check. Like, you should ask AI. I don't think they've really got a verification layer, right? Like for official repos.
Mhm.
It reminds me of like npm typo squatting, like around 2018. Like we should look into that. In fact, let me see if I can find it. But I think it's going to get like a lot worse before like
Yeah.
it gets better if the platform doesn't intentionally like fix it. You
Dude, and
know?
this is a huge exploitation of not robots, not machines, not code, but humans. I think we're starting to see over and over again that humans are the weakest link in the cybersecurity loop there.
Yeah, it's always been like the easiest attack vector, like like phishing
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I don't know too much about security, but I know enough that like this is a constant theme, right? Even if you like look at all of these like Axios things, I mean, those are a little bit different, but ultimately it's an individual that gets compromised, and that individual just happens to have access to like a wider network, right? And that's kind of how everything kind of gets out of hand. But yeah, this is a big one, right? Because Hugging Face is kind of your native AI modeler's kind of home, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
it's the
and so
GitHub of LLM models.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, so it's like where people go to like train their models, learn how to talk about benchmarking, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. It's like, so it does remind me of like npm issues, like in the early days. Like you have to have some kind of official. It's actually surprising that they haven't even addressed that yet. Like you can't create a platform like that and not consider, because it's almost like it comes inherent with the territory. Like
Mhm.
if you're working in digital and tech, you have to consider security. It doesn't matter, and I don't know. I feel like
You think they're
hug,
just overwhelmed or what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a difficult one. Like I don't really know the story about their growth, so I don't really know like how they started out and how quickly it expanded and grew. Because sometimes you can imagine, and again, I'm just kind of going with my gut feel here. I don't know anything about it, but I can imagine if you grow really quickly and suddenly you kind of become this hub for something, you're just not prepared, are you? It's that kind of, you scale
Mhm.
so quickly, and I can't really think of like an obvious alternative to Hugging Face. Like, can you? Like, I think like if it that would be my first port of call, right? It's like, if I think of like community forum, I think wiki, I think Reddit. I don't think that's the first thing that comes to mind. And Hugging Face for me is like that for like LLM modeling, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, but it is a concern. I think there's a general abstraction you can take from this, right? It's the same way I feel about GitHub virality, and we spoke about that yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Is like that idea that like you can't just blindly trust what's up there. It doesn't matter how many stars it's got. It doesn't matter, if you don't understand what you're using, you have a problem. And I would go like a step further and say there's no excuse really, because it's just bad. It's just bad kind of practice, right? Like we can ask AI to help us navigate that. Even if you're completely ignorant to it, you just have to ask the question. And I know that because I get lazy too. Do you know what I mean, dude? Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, like this could have happened to me just
We're
as
human.
easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, and I just think like, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody, and I just think that sucks. That's one of the kind of real sad truths at the moment, is that the adoption of this technology has increased so fast, but people
Yeah.
haven't quite caught up with like the risk yet,
Yeah. Well, and Hugging Face is an interesting one because people are knowingly downloading LLM models, right? So one of the recent attack vectors that we've discussed that is probably one of the more interesting one is these LLM models that are deployed onto people's computers and they wake later, right? They have a
Trojans, yeah.
yeah, they wake up 6 months later, and then you have an actual AI LLM running on their computer,
Yeah.
performing whatever malicious task it is. I mean, truly, yeah, Trojan horse, soldier going in and wrecking havoc. And so since
Yeah.
Hugging Face, where people are going there to download LLMs, it's not a big jump to assume that some of them might have these Trojan horses with many
Man,
LLM
it's
models in them. Yeah.
yeah, it's basically like, it reminds me like botnet type attacks where you penetrate like a backdoor into like one system, and it's on a network, and slowly this Trojan, this malware, just starts spreading, sitting dormantly until you want to use it. And I think there's been lots of examples of this, but the classic like monetized one was like for crypto farming, right? For
Mhm.
blockchain mining. And they would just kind of take over computers really silently, and then they would just be operating them and mining Bitcoin, and like having these huge, like the equivalent of like thousands and thousands of GPUs, right? Because they would just slowly, and there's all sorts of nasty stuff you can do. And AI has empowered everybody equally based on competency. So it's like, if you're a really technical, hyper amazing, brilliant technical guy, AI's made you much better at what you do if you know how to navigate it, how to orchestrate it. And the same goes for hackers, dude. If you're a proper diehard black hat hacker who's out there to hurt people, like a malicious hacker, AI is making your life a lot easier, and like, we've spoken about so much of this stuff. And again, I really don't get security. Like I'm interested in all that stuff. I read the stories, but a lot of it just kind of over my head, But I just know the theme is the same. It's like there's so many crazy stories I hear. Like I can understand the layman of it. Like I told you about, like putting code into memory, and then it writes its own with
Yeah.
AI. It writes its own malware, can't be detected. Just crazy things going on. And I think the obvious truth is like, okay, right, number one, humans are the easiest vector. We know that because of phishing emails and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, they're the easiest vector. Right now, how do we get a bunch of people that are uneducated to download something? LLMs, Hugging Face, GitHub repos. Like, it's an obvious thing. Like, if I was a hacker, I'd be like, I'd make some GitHub repo, I'd make some viral, buy some light stars, get it to like
Yeah.
30,000 stars, and then just like hit up a couple of influencer gurus and be like, I'll pay you a little bit to get like talk about it. At least someone's going to download it. It's like,
At least someone, yeah. Oops.
What's this you're showing? Oh, is this the article? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna jump
Just some
into
notes.
it. And so actually we have the full article right here.
Oh yeah, dude. So what is it? OpenOSS. So the project named OpenOSS privacy filter masqueraded as a legitimate counterpart released by OpenAI. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Including copying the entire description verbatim. Such an easy. It's not even. That's not even like people being lazy. That's just really like engineered, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's not like I've released a cool model. Go check it out. You know.
Mm-hmm. They just made it look like it was a part of OpenAI.
Yeah, you see, look,
legitimate.
It says it there. Like the repository had typo squatted OpenAI's legitimate privacy filter release. That's what I was saying, right? It's like the NPM days. Copied its model card nearly verbatim. Yeah, and like I said, again, it goes back to what I said, right? No official repo. If you don't know it's officially OpenAI, there's no flag to say it's official. They have to implement that. Like, how hard can that be? Like, they have to implement that. They will. I'm sure they'll do something now.
Yeah, so this was a nasty one.
Yeah, this is big. It's funny, isn't it? Like, a lot of this stuff would just kind of wash by you before AI. Like, you might hear about it if you're a techie, but like if you're not a techie, this stuff just kind of, you wouldn't even know it existed. But now, because there's been this kind of so much interest in AI, these stories feel a lot more impactful, don't they?
I think that, and also these hacks have the ability to be a lot more impactful because what they're accessing is just more powerful.
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
Like it's nuts to think that this was almost 250,000 downloads within 18 hours, and it only had 667 likes.
It's a stealer. Yeah, look, further analysis of the activities unearthed 6 more repositories that feature a similar Python loader to deploy the stealer. Are they listing them because they're still up? Like, surely they've been taken down now. Or do they not have the ability to take it down?
Seems like they don't have the ability from...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess like a repo, it's like you don't want to make a mistake taking down someone's legitimate repo, right? Like,
hey, and this right here goes to what we were talking about yesterday. Speaks to the importance of being able to monitor all of the payloads that are sent, all of the pings, the timing of them, the order of everything.
At least, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think about this like realistically. Like, you would, it's still rough. Like, you're only going to see them when you're looking at them, right? Like if you imagine you've got like a stream of like information, like you're developing something and you're expecting to see something, and then you see something odd, you might investigate it, and yeah, you're right, you'd find something and you'd like know, so that's helpful, but you have to be looking for it. It's kind of, it's pretty rough. Like I think I don't know about you, man, but I think I'm just gonna like try and think about it more like, how do I abstract and automate the checks, and like what are the best practices? Like, I think when you're downloading something, anything, even something that's recognized, like checking when the version was, checking that it's, it's safe. And once you've got a good version of it, pinning it, there's all this kind of discipline, right? Like this is probably a new thing, right? I don't know how long it came out for, but they pretended to be OpenAI or whatever from the sounds of it. I don't know the detail.
Yeah.
And then like, did it just drop? Like, don't download something that's just dropped, like.
True. It does look like it was only 18 hours. That
like,
it was
don't do that. That's like a common thing. Don't do that. Like,
dude,
wait.
And again, going back to yesterday, whenever you were talking about the importance of pinning versions,
yeah,
for packages,
exactly. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder how many of these 250,000 automatically.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
Anyways, well, in other news, on the social side of things,
Yeah.
OpenAI is really facing a hard lawsuit right here.
Yeah, this one could have I like
Yeah. The,
I this one's bad.
yeah, and this isn't the first either. This is, let's see, you had the Canadian shooter that also had talked to ChatGPT, and some of those conversations were questionable. I haven't looked at
Yeah.
them myself, but based on what it looks like here, this could be a really big hit for OpenAI, right when
You know,
they're gaining some momentum.
well, like the way I think about it is like, what is the impact, right? So there's a couple of cases going on with this, right? There's some other companies that are also going through something similar. So it's more like an industry-wide thing. And I remember back, I don't know when it was, like a year ago or something, where someone unalived themselves and they had these conversations with OpenAI, right? With GPT. And who was that? Who's that other company, dude? There's like another company, character.ai. I think
Oh,
it's character. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I think they were sued for like a similar kind of thing, right? I think they managed to dismiss it, right? But the theory here is like, I don't know, man. Like if they were found guilty, what does that mean, right? It means that they're gonna have to put in kind of crazy like filtering, like age gating, all sorts of like precautions. It's a bit like you don't get to enjoy the model as it should be enjoyed. Like
hmm
it's going to be watered down. And I don't know if that's a bad thing, right? Because it's hard to tell, but it would have a big impact, right? Like, I don't know. I wonder how, like, this is Chat GPT, this is OpenAI, but I wonder, because we know that Anthropic always claims to be really like all about the security. But I don't know, like who's to blame really? Like you've got someone that's deranged, right? Like, and they're asking OpenAI something. I don't know, like how can you? I don't know enough details about it. Again, I'm going to read up on it more because I only saw this when you sent it through to me to have a look at today, and I looked at it briefly, and I was just like, it's really interesting. I kind of have heard some headlines about it. I've seen some like reels on
hmm
Instagram that talk about it for a minute, but I don't know any of the details. But it is kind of wild. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. It is a really difficult and tricky situation because on one side, by constraining the tool further and further to where it's, you're unable to even use it as it's intended, and you're restricting the growth or how effective we can all use AI. And yet on the flip side, there absolutely need to be some sort of safeguards for children on this. I mean, we talked about yesterday how AI is similar to a gun. It doesn't take, all it takes is enough strength to pull the trigger, and there's a lot of power. There's a lot of force behind that. A child, as long as they have enough strength, can do it. Well, a child can also chat with Chat GPT, right? Nowadays with speech to speech too. They can just have a conversation with it. So we need to have some sort of safety guidelines in place. I don't know if that's chat for kids and it's just super restricted, and unless you're over 18 you can't use it, or what. But yeah, man,
I just
I think
think
we're
like
gonna need a division here.
I just think you have to age gate it. Like
Yeah.
you can't. It's not like YouTube Kids where you can like deterministically tell it not to show certain things or whatever, right? And put monitors and control. Like, it's AI. If the model knows about it, what are they going to do? Train a model just on kid stuff? like,
I don't know, because on the flip side,
like,
if they've never used AI before and they get to 16, 18, good luck. They're not going to be ready for the labor force if there are any jobs left. I'll
yeah,
make it even more more of an argument for just replacing humans in general in the workforce, since they wouldn't know how to even use AI.
Yeah, man, it's wild, isn't it?
It is. It's an interesting to see how this all plays out. Very sad, but yeah, see who will be liable for this. Hey, and this could even go over to Anthropic's Mythos, right? Where that story has continuously changed from what initially they said. Oh, what was it? That it had been leaked accidentally. The Mythos model had been leaked, and then later on they changed the narrative that it had actually escaped. And they haven't said anything since then. They've left the narrative at that. So
yeah, it's like super misleading, isn't it? Like Mythos is kind of winding me up. Like I have such like I just feel really like it's a marketing thing, like for their IPO. Like I don't believe the hype. I hope I'm wrong because I think it'll be really cool. But I just kind of think the Anthropics kind of worked out that like their safety kind of theater is their moat. And so like it's too dangerous to release, is kind of like brand enforcement. So
it's a great point.
I don't know, they're not really like correcting the self-exfiltration narrative, because the narrative's kind of their asset. That's how I kind of see it. It's like I don't know, man.
Ahead.
It's like that they announced Mythos as doing like their code reviews, and Mythos being this like security genius, right? In a matter of words, and then that was like a week before Claude leaked all of its like front end in a release.
Yeah,
and it's like, hello, something's not adding up. Like there was those bugs. Remember those bugs that were causing issues in the cache? That like people were saying their performance was degrading. That was also after Mythos. So it's like something's not adding up for me, man. It just feels kind of, I don't know. Like I think it's more likely just to be like a natural extension of Opus, just for a lot more tokens, like a lot more expensive. Yeah.
Hey, well, that wouldn't be too surprising. Anthropic's already been a little deceitful, and I love Anthropic. You know this. I am.
Yeah, me too.
They're at the top of their S tier for my LLM usage, but they've been a little deceptive.
They haven't been willing to like. I think it's like the incentives, right? Like it's the IPO, right? They're just thinking about the IPO. It was really obvious to most people. It was kind of a conspiracy theory, and it's not been confirmed, but their actions have kind of demonstrated that it's likely to be true, that everything was a compute issue. They just didn't have enough compute, right? And so they were charging more, they were giving stricter limits, all that kind of stuff, lowering the model, degrading the performance, whatever, I don't know. Like people's calls to the model were taking like really long times when they shouldn't be, and everyone's like, this doesn't make sense. When so there was all this kind of stuff, and then like they signed the deal with Elon, which we've spoken about. Now they've got more compute, and now they're like happy to give away usage, right? And it's like, I just think everything is correlated with that. Like the story seems to be driven by compute. That's why I think 4.7 was such a disaster, because I think 4.7 was rushed out not because it was a good model, but because it had all the compute fixes and like the tokenizer and no ability to select adaptive thinking off and all that kind of stuff. So I just think, I got mixed feelings about them. I get it. I do get it. Like they're running a business, but
they got to play the game to some degree.
They won people over by everyone feeling like they were really honest, and they offered a great product. And they really cared. They cared about the user. They cared about security. They wanted to, and it's like that's kind of, they've lost a bit of that,
Yeah. Let's hope that they turn the ship around and they start going,
I hope so,
more towards that authentic for the people
Yeah, I'm hoping.
But
Yeah, I'm just hoping because they got more compute now. I'm hoping that
Yeah.
can kind of help.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful Colossus 1 supercomputer.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, I don't know if we talked about this story. This was a cool one. Gemini-powered AI agent Mona now runs an actual cafe in Stockholm. So the team is located in San Francisco. And the best part of this story is that they did not replace the cafe with robots or AI. They only replaced the head manager.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. That totally makes sense, though, dude.
Yeah. So still it's humans running the shop, humans delivering or, serving the coffee, saying hi to people, taking their money. But in the back end, everything's just being managed by an AI assistant or
That's
an
I'm not
agent.
I'm so not surprised by that, because if you think about, like, we're practitioners, right? And if you think about the work we've done for like businesses in, say, I don't know, like for me, it's like automation. Yeah, it's like, what are you automating? You're not automating the front of house. You're not automating
Yeah.
the people serving customers. You're automating the accounting, the reports, the data, the administration. You're reporting the manager's duty, like the middle managers. So the idea that that's the part of the business that's going to lose their job to AI makes total sense to me. And then, like, the front of house needs to be like looking at the client's face and seeing their mood and, giving them good customer service. People don't want to have customer service by a robot. They don't want it, and they won't tip.
No, yeah, they don't want a robot.
Would you tip a robot?
Oh,
Even if the service was insanely good?
even if it was a humanoid robot and it looked incredibly realistic.
Yeah. Would you, like, if it was like, imagine like you're in a world where like these robots have proper like sentience, like they really do. Like, we've gone to that proper place in the future, like quantum AI or something crazy, right? And they've got consciousness. It's AGI, right? But it's a robot, but it's like indistinguishable from a human, and they really care about their job, and they're given more like something that they can enjoy, that they actually have things they enjoy. Like, they're basically pseudo humans. But they're programmed to do that job, right? Would you tip them?
I don't think I would.
Why?
Because I need the money more than they do. I don't know, man. That's a really good question, though.
I just think, like, if they're AGI and they've got consciousness and they really care.
Yeah, and they
like,
actually have their own like rent
They-
that they have to pay and their own
it's not. Yeah,
responsibilities. that the
it's not
money
just
goes
going to the
to.
company. Yeah, it's like it's not. It's not like you're going to give the tip and it's just going to go to the boss, right? Like, it's actually for the bot.
I don't know, dude. We're getting into some
Metaphysical, like, philosophy. Like,
we passed Will I Am. We're into the
Will I Am, like the Black Eyed Peas.
like the movie
iRobot.
iRobot, yeah.
Yeah. Will Smith, Will I Am. I get it now. I get where your head went. Yeah. That's cool though. I know that Claude did something like that. Like, they were like running like a kiosk or something in their own. Like, Anthropic was like running like a kiosk at the Anthropic headquarters with just like AI. Yeah,
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool.
So I kind of want to rip on these just a little bit. This is, I dare say, embarrassing. But you have community college, and this is a local one to me, charging $1,300 for a prompt engineering boot camp.
Wow, that sucks, dude.
Yeah,
that's so manipulative. Do you think it's like manipulative, like hype train monetizing, or do you think it's their ignorance?
I don't know if they're aware that they're doing this or that they are knowingly doing it, but I feel like colleges, dude, are on the chopping block. I like you listen to a lot of the top people out there, entrepreneurs, and they're all saying, yeah, college is dead. college students are having a harder time finding jobs coming out than high schoolers, because nowadays it's more about how quickly can you pick up AI tools, or how AI native are you, and what can you do. So this is part of me wonders, are colleges kind of taking a final little stab at making some money before they're
man,
disappearing?
it's so wild, isn't it? Like, I'm trying to think back, like when I was young enough to go to college, and it was a long time ago, man. Like when I was young enough to go to college, it was like the path, like if you wanted a good job, you literally couldn't even get, like, forget like graduate schemes or whatever, like you couldn't get a job that was like a high paying job, like, I don't know, lawyer, medicine, banking, whatever, right? You couldn't get those jobs if you didn't have like a college degree.
Yeah.
And like, I think now that's still true, but there's this whole like wave of like entrepreneurialism, isn't there? Like e-commerce and social media, and
Last decade been on the rise. Absolutely.
so like people that are doing like crazy numbers, like far exceeding these jobs, are kind of, they're really bright people. They're really bright people that maybe would conventionally, I don't know, that's true. I'm just kind of going with it. Like maybe like that's kind of, a bit of that is happening. And you're right. Like we're also in a world where like the workforce doesn't really want to hire as much because of this AI stuff and the cutting costs and stuff and the fixed cost base. So like, who knows,
Yeah. And it's so interesting too. You know what? I'll comment on that once we get down a little bit further. But yeah, on where companies are spending their money with AI.
Oh
Where the value's at.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because these next two here, this is really interesting. We're seeing a lot of negative news right now about AI and AI in business. Rolling back from what people were promising last year and what people were trying to sell as, by the end of 2025, we're going to replace your entire SDR team, or we're going to replace your backend team, to now, actually, they need hand holding. The agents will need humans to oversee them. And the narrative has completely changed. And yet at the same time, the amount of money that's being thrown into AI has not dropped at all. So it's really interesting, because it seems like expectations might actually lower here in the near future, while the money and funds going into AI continues to increase.
Yeah, this is the internet all over again, isn't it? It's .com bubble. Like
Feels that way,
yeah, like that there was just huge investment. How much money was lost in the .com bubble, but yet you still got Google, Facebook, these companies that came out of that just became like these monolithic, amazing, big, profitable businesses. But ultimately there was just so much money that was just blown away. And it's a tricky one, isn't it? I do think like I do think AI is, it's an interesting one, right? Because it's like, what did AI promise versus what it actually is? I think it's true, like it overhyped, like the idea that AI can replace all these people like in a month or in 6 months or in a year, I think that's nonsense. But I think it's definitely a transitional thing. But to say that it's a hype in the sense of like, I don't know, like NFTs or something, right? Where the idea is like decent, but it was just a trend, really.
Yeah, the value that it created hasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't very easy to realize it. They were always battling with trying to justify it. Whereas AI is a much more real thing. Like everybody can get value from it. It might just be writing an email quicker. It might be doing some research quicker. It might be a glorified Google search, right? But whatever way you look at it, it has a place. It's just, is it as big as the money that's been invested? I'm not sure, and you're seeing a lot of like trading stuff now, and it definitely adds a lot of value, right? But you know, I just think I'm wondering what part of productivity it's gonna kind of settle in as like being the leader. And then of course the question is, none of us really know how quickly we will get to those points of like
Yeah.
when the models are just so good at things that genuinely you know you can trust them. I mean, you've got stories saying that, you know, research is going to get better because of AI experiments. That's going to escalate the speed at which these things get improved. You know, you've got a lot of people doing research, understanding, testing in real time, a lot more data. So everything, it's got the recipe to kind of continue rocketing.
Yeah.
But it's also got a lot of challenges, and it's like trying to, as a truth seeker, you're trying to kind of navigate that. And I don't think anyone's really got the answer. Everyone's punting in some way or form. So like, I don't know. I just know how useful I find it, you know?
Yeah. Dude, one signal that came to mind that definitely supports your hypothesis of everyone still trying to figure out what they're doing is how quickly a tweet from Carpathy or somebody that's high up in this space will go super viral. Because if everyone
Yeah.
knew what they were doing or had some sort of clear understanding of what they were doing, it doesn't feel like though like a tweet would cause the entire industry to shift or a GitHub repo to go absolutely
Yeah.
apish, like nuts, right? Bullish. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like that would be the case if everyone knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think you're talking about like Carpathy's wiki and stuff.
Carpathy's wiki. I
Right.
forget what it
Yeah.
was before that he had come out with and
Yeah.
tweeted.
Yeah. It's true. Like, I think that, like, Carpathy was the most surprised. Like, if you actually read his tweets, one thing you can't deny is he's quite a likable person, you
Well,
know?
and I'm a big fan. I just think it's, it's a signal that the market itself has no
Yeah.
idea what the heck's going on.
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't solved memory. He came up with a pretty neat idea, right? In the idea
Mhm.
to index stuff, right? In a kind of wiki. But fundamentally, what was he really saying? I mean, people bolted on graph. He mentioned graph, and everyone latched onto that.
Yeah.
And it's a neat idea, but it's not solved. You know, it's like, it's just an abstract idea. It's ultimately just store markdowns and use rip grep to find stuff. You know,
Rip grep.
yeah, good old rip grep. You know, it's
Excited
like
for using
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the simple solutions are the best. And
Yeah.
I think with Carpathy, like, he's a really good communicator.
Mhm.
Something that I could like learn because I'm really bad at communicating. But he's pretty neat. But you're right. The essence of what you're saying, more importantly, right, which is that it's a signal for like the way how quickly everyone can shift, and that's because there's no pushback. There's no one saying like, no, that's not a good idea, or these are the holes in that idea, right? Because the truth is, everyone's just trying to work it out, and as you say, we don't know. No, a lot of it isn't solved yet, which makes investing really difficult, right? Because
Really difficult.
you get
Yeah.
sold on the idea, and you have to trust that it works. And how do you trust that it works? What, a demo? I mean, how trustworthy is a demo when it comes to AI? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't
It's
either,
like,
but that's not going to stop money being thrown into
yeah,
it.
yeah, right, exactly.
This, I thought this was absolutely nuts here. $297 billion in 90 days.
Whoa.
Quarter of 2026. That's how
Just
much
give
was
me,
invested.
just give me one. I
Yeah,
only
we
want
just
one.
need one,
I'm
right?
not greedy, dude. Not
I'm not
greedy.
greedy, just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Got 297 to spare, and you don't even have to give it to me
God.
within 90 days. You could take a few years. like
You can drip it, it can drip. Like, don't worry. Yeah. Well,
yeah. You could
bro,
just split it over my lifetime. Like, you know,
yeah,
like, yeah, that's fine.
bro, but 297 in 90 days when the entire GDP of Portugal is around 280 billion.
That's so wild.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
What is that number? Is that just for like everything invested? Like 200?
Global
Oh,
startup
Anthropic.
funding hit.
So 852 billion valuation. That's OpenAI. raised 120 billion. Anthropic round pushed it past 60 billion, and then 297 billion in 90 days. Right. The entire we invested more in AI startups. So yeah, so it's the industry as a whole, but a large part of that being the frontier investments. Yeah. That makes sense. That's just unbelievable numbers, isn't it? Quarter of a trillion.
This coming back to what we had talked about earlier, an AI system that can self-replicate on a separate machine.
Yeah, this is
Trojan horses.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's like, it's kind of a vibey statement, isn't it? It's not really. I think I like briefly looked into it, and it was like agents executing tool calls in sequences inside Sandbox, and then calling that a copy of itself. You know, onto a second machine without permission.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of defensible, I guess, but it's kind of also misleading, which is like AI at the moment in general. That's like the thing. Like, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say I would get to panicking just yet. It's not quite. It reminds me of like do you remember there was that study where he did some research, and Anthropic's model like tried to unalive someone because they felt threatened in like a test case, like during testing. Did you read that one?
I do remember where, yeah, it's chosen to off people instead of being reset or being overwritten.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can find it was a while back. Yeah, it was to do with like agentic misalignment. I'm just Googling, I'm just having a look. It's like, yeah, how they treat like inside threats or something like that. And they had like these unalive scenarios. Yeah, so they didn't, it's not that the AI threatened a real person, but they had like theoretically the tools to harm someone, like shutting off their oxygen or whatever. Like, I don't know, like, you know, and it chose that path, or to blackmail someone, you know, in the firm to stay, so the model wouldn't get deleted or something like that. Some kind of movie scenario.
A little, yeah. Hey, you know what? Running game theory tests on LLM to see what their true motives are is an interesting rabbit hole for anyone that.
Yeah,
I think I shared those results of mine with you.
Yeah, so interesting. And the more interesting news aligned with that was the news that Anthropic. I mean, now this I should be able to find because it was quite recent.
Yeah.
But Anthropic released some research that was basically like they've worked out how to read the model. Oh, that is the misalignment paper. Yeah. So basically, it reads new Anthropic research teaching Claude wide. So basically, they're saying that they found a way to actually look inside the black box. Like, I don't know the correct language, but the correct language is basically that, you know, like how when you're training a model, you don't understand what it's actually thinking.
Yeah.
Like there's some level of like it's latent space, and it's like this, you know, so this technical stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like a higher dimensional space that
it's like it's all binary and like matrixy, right? Like I don't really know, but like but the idea is that they now seem to think that they found a way to like look inside the box and see how it's making decisions and how it's thinking, which I think is pretty groundbreaking based on what I've read. And they did like a tweet thread on, is it even called a tweet thread anymore? An X thread on X that kind of spoke through that. And I thought that was really interesting. So if you understand kind of how the model's thinking, you can start to shape where the misalignment comes from in the model. You know, because you know OpenAI loves talking about like goblins, like that problem that, I don't know if you read that article, how it keeps manifesting.
That before, but interesting.
Yeah. And they're trying to work out like why. What is it? Is it because there's such a huge sample set of data on the internet about like the mythical worlds and stuff, and like, you know, do goblins just come up a lot? And so somehow in the training data, it's been skewed to reference goblins. Like there's loads of funny like memes about it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
make me a code art version of a unicorn. And it's basically just a goblin with a unicorn horn. Like somehow goblins keep coming back into the mix.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
hilarious.
why? So it's like, why goblins? You know, so there's all these like fun conspiracy theories.
Yeah, what's AI trying to tell us?
Yeah. Goblins are real, man. Goblins are real.
If only they were reptiles.
Yeah, that's the best. Those are the best stories. I love those ones because I have no idea really like what's going on with that stuff, but I find it really like funny.
But it's interesting for sure.
I've not had any goblin. I feel like I've been left out. I've had no goblin stories yet on it with AI. Have you had any goblins?
No goblin stories. This is a first for me.
Yes, what are we doing wrong? Like, why are we not getting any goblins?
Maybe this is what we're doing right. We're not getting goblins. We're getting real responses.
I don't know, man. Like it's like everyone's getting goblins, and maybe we're doing something wrong.
Dude, well, speaking of coding and results, it's day 2 of vibe coding Jarvis. So
yeah,
what are we what are we getting into?
Yeah, dude. So today's been so today's been a kind of interesting train wreck, and I think that's what's been interesting about it. So, you know, I think one of the things we promised was like we would just do it in public and we'd talk about you know not just all the good stuff, but all the challenges. And today was one of those days where, so I don't know, should I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead and share it.
We'll just get into it, right? So yeah, just let me know when you can see it and I'll try and
I can see it. I got you.
Awesome, cool. So I think the last time we delivered this kind of slice in our system where we were just adding this kind of simple feature to help us monitor some things a little bit easier. And what we're doing is creating this kind of actually, do we need to rejig, and do I need to do the whole like intro in terms of like what we're building every session? What do you think? Maybe briefly. Okay, I'll do it briefly.
We can do it this time. I'm thinking if anything, then in the future, just kind of like mention it throughout.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So glitch is basically, and this was written with AI, right? And I haven't really refined it because I've been busy doing other stuff.
Oh my God, you used AI to create AI? Ugh.
Yeah. So it's maybe a little bit like this is real and all that kind of AI prose, right? But but I think the essence is about right, and I'll course correct. So glitch is kind of this desktop app that puts AI agent and its plumbing in one window. So it's like a space, like a UI harness on top of, like, if anyone's used like Claude Code or anything like that, and they used to go into like an IDE like Cursor or VS Code or something like that, or you know, just straight in the terminal like iTerm or, you know, anything like that. This is kind of like a UI over the top, but the difference is that you can control the way you work with Claude Code much more deterministically when you create this kind of harness thing over the top, which is what people call it. And that's what it is. It's kind of a desktop app that does that. And what we're doing is kind of building it from scratch based on the systems that we've been using for ages, but never maintained properly. And that's it. So the vision is you have this system and it can do everything for you. It's like a digital assistant, right? You can triage your mailbox. It can do coding projects. It can propose its own upgrades. It's got memory layers and all this good stuff. So that's basically it. And I guess we can go into more about that another time, maybe into the actual thing. But what we're doing at the moment is in our first coding session, this is like our little Jarvis, right? And the idea is that this is a system that anyone can use, right? And it doesn't matter what your use case is, right? If you're my use case is this. My use case is building this for content and showing you guys and whatever, right? But someone else might be doing like e-commerce with it. They might be wanting to do automations with it. They might be wanting to just use it to book like dinner dates, you know, whatever it is, manage their life, fitness, maybe all of the above, right? In the kind of OpenClaw sense or the Hermes sense, right? And this is like our take on it. Because when I looked at those other systems, I saw a lot of familiar design patterns, and Chase saw a lot of similar design patterns. And we just thought we could do it a little bit differently and in a way that was more transparent. And I think that was the big kind of North Star. It's like, how do we demystify the black box of what's going on in these terminal UIs? Like, coding agents like Claude or Codex, and how can we kind of create it to be our little one-stop shop where I could just talk to it and Telegram message it, and that's it. So we started this yesterday, and I was explaining to Chase that we built this shell, like an actual like little application that we can open, right, and play around with. And the idea was just to get this to an MVP where we just set up the basic foundations of it all. And I thought that'd be fun to do in public because everyone could see the pain that you go through doing it, but also some of the decisions and why we make them. And it was going pretty well. A couple of bugs here and there. We spoke about how we were doing it. We set up a terminal space in there that allowed us to communicate, through this harness. So that was cool. This is like a dev environment, so we can use it to actually build the thing from. So that's how we started. Obviously, ideally, we don't want that to be the interface.
One thing I want to throw in real quick, because I think it's important for this process, is that through our conversations, you came up with the genius idea of measuring what's happening behind the inside of the black box before building the black box. So what's being built here is literally to measure what's happening in the system before even building the system, which is a pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
That's such a perceptive point. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a genius idea. I think it's
you can leave that to me saying it's a genius idea. So
thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks, man. I think it's like a product of the fact that I've made those mistakes in the past, and so it's kind of to help me. But I thought it could also help other people, And so like and what do we mean by that, right? Like just to keep it in a way that everyone can understand. Let's say you go into a terminal and you type a message, right? Hello, Claude, right? And as you see the little thinking, anthropic thing, kabubulating or whatever it is, this fun words that it comes up with. And then it pastes something, right? And it's like, well, what was going on? Like, what was actually happening? And everyone's used all these features like skills and hooks and things. If you're more advanced, you might have used hooks. But what's actually going on? Like what's going on in the back end? And so by understanding that, you can start to work out these little places that you can inject yourself, right? And start making the AI do less work, less guessing, less, qualitative stuff like reasoning when it doesn't need to. And you can kind of start inserting structures and the way you want to see things. And that gives you these awesome like ways to like expand and get really good quality, say content or more trust in the system. And then you can build these other layers like memory and all these, and you get the drift, right? It's kind of compounding. So that's what we're doing. And Claude and Chase was right. That's where we're starting. So I set it up, and I wanted to make sure that I could intercept the prompts. So that was the first thing I built. A way to measure the prompts, a way to visualize what was going on in the prompts in this card system. And I'll show you guys all this. And then to be able to trace them, to see the sequence of them. These all sound like the same thing, but they're kind of little technical nuance here and there. And then, how to manage them, because, you don't want them to be a big mess. You want to be able to actually copy and paste and all this little stuff that seems really obvious. You just expect to work and you don't think it's obvious, but you have to actually do it. You have to actually code it. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. It's one of the cool things I think about coding is that you have to deal with these little things one at a time, and slowly you get this thing. And then, and then classify it and stuff like that. And so that's what I've been doing. So we got to this point yesterday where we had just worked out how to
hey Kem, quick question, what happens if you don't do all this? What ends up happening if you just
one shot
harness, you just start every day, you're adding on to it? Maybe you start with Daniel Miesler's paw, or you start with Hermes, or you start with an OpenClaw variant of some sort, and you just start building on it every single day. What ends up happening if you haven't gone through and done this work?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think the truth is you don't know, and that's the risk, right? But generally speaking, you get yourself into a big mess. Yeah, is the answer, because if you don't understand what's going on under the hood, you've got no way to measure it. You've got no way to measure if it's working. You've got no understanding of what it's doing, so you feel less confident to give it autonomy. You don't understand if something's broken, if there's theater going on, if the model's lying, and the analogy I use is like hallucination.
The model lying. That one's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, because if it's on a topic you understand, right? Let's say it's talking about your favorite, sports team, and you're talking to it about the performance of the match it had on Saturday that you were at, and it starts quoting another team that you weren't against. Immediately you see it and you go, oh, hold on, that's not right. Like, what are you talking about? And it starts lying to you, and you think, you're gaslighting me now, right? Like, this is hallucination. But so that's just a really simple way of thinking about it. Like, if you don't understand what's actually going on, you can't prove it wrong.
And that's at least that lie is just information that is provided back to you. It's not a lie of it saying that it used a skill or it took an action in the back end and then discovering, oh wait, no, you didn't actually do that. You didn't actually invoke that skill. You lied to me. And being like, oh, sorry, yeah, I thought this other way was better or something. And you're like, dude.
Yeah. And it comes down a lot of the time to this magical word, inference. So like,
I thought you were going to say trust.
Yeah.
You kind of did.
That too. Yes. It comes down to inference. I think in the Claude meta prompt, like the thing you don't see that's kind of in the background, one of the lines is, you're a helpful coding agent, right? And I know that's one of the lines because when I was doing this very work, I got to see the actual master prompt because it showed me what was going on in the background. And that was the line. And because that line was there, the model was already trying to make sure it helped me. And why that's dangerous if you don't understand what you're doing is because sometimes the right solution is not the helpful one in that moment. Maybe the difficult solution that feels unhelpful is the right one to take, right? But instead of the model saying, hey, listen, I'm really sorry, but what you're trying to do is going to cause you problems, so I don't think it's a good idea, it will say, well, you could do it like this. And then you go, oh, it's cool. And I think when you one-shot projects like this, or if you don't understand what you're doing, then often you come across those problems later. You change something and it breaks something and you're thinking, how did that affect that? And then you realize it was the way it was stringed together and the tools they selected. And, it's just too many variables, right? Yeah. And so being quite disciplined helps,
It makes me think of if you got a brand new employee or a new VA and you expected to give them vague instructions every time. And every time you wanted them to do something, even if you wanted them to do something they had previously done, you gave them a new set of vague instructions. And so it's hard to blame the model for not understanding and being confused when that's exactly what would happen if you had hired someone to do that job.
Yeah, you'd call that like bad management, wouldn't you? Or like,
you realize, you're at
bad
fault.
Orchestration. Yeah, like, and the thing is, we've all been there. Like, I used to manage teams and stuff, right, in my life, and I when I got lazy and I didn't give effective, guidance in what I was looking for, to then get angry about it, is a very immature an emotional response. And I think over time I learned that wasn't the right thing to do, but I definitely had a period of my life like that. And I think you're right. I think it's the same. Like, if you don't take the time to direct it, and unfortunately for me, I'm sure there's many ways to do things, but I think for me, it means slowing down a little bit so you can run later.
Oh, that's hard. It's
really hard.
Than done. Yeah.
It's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard. You have to kind of, I keep saying you have to kind of, you don't have to kind of anything, but I find that what works best for me is just slowing down at the start so that you got this really solid foundation and then everything else just kind of slots in place very quickly,
Miesler's work right there you're describing.
There's a lot of people doing some interesting things.
Yeah. Built on foundations, really, really good foundations, but start running too fast. And
you can get carried away very quickly.
And myself as well. Yeah. I only speak on this because I have expanded my system to the point of realizing occasionally it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. And
Oh yeah.
once you become so dependent upon it, it's not even a bad dependency. I'd say this is genuinely amazing. This genuinely makes my life so much better. And then you start experiencing hallucination or mistakes or new files being created in places they're not supposed to. And yeah, it it's a splash of cold water to the face.
Yeah, I've lived that experience too. I mean, definitely. This
It's
is
rough.
this is part of the reason. Yeah, so
Yeah,
this is part of the reason. You know, I'm really excited about building it like this from
me
the
too.
ground up. Yeah, and I'm sure this will happen, and then I want to do it again. You know, it's like because you just
Yeah,
never
yeah.
stop learning. You know, because you
Literally
want to.
build it from the ground up in the future again. We know this
Yeah,
is probably going to
exactly.
happen, but
With all the new lessons that you've learned, but at
yep.
least you hope you can keep as much of it as possible because it's still solid, right? And modularized, you know.
Yeah, and I think taking this approach as well, we'll have the tools to recreate it from the ground up when that time comes, if necessary. And we don't have to start truly from the ground up of making all the tools to do it and everything else. Like it'll be a much quicker process the second and third iterations.
It is if you set up correctly. You
Yes.
know, something we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
yeah, something we're gonna do in the future. Like like you and I are big fan of C4, right? Like
Yeah,
C4,
loved it.
and like using these for those that don't know, it's like a way to index all your code and your architecture and how things connect, so that it's free. It's and it's a common tool or a tool like it is used, and
Absolutely amazing too for anyone that's newer to coding or has a little bit of experience, but you feel like you get lost in what all is happening behind the scenes. Like C4 was truly one of, I would say, my best pickups of 2026 using Wise, just because you can visually go in there, jump in, see exactly what's dependent on what traces where, what metadata is being like. It adds that visual layer to
yeah.
the magic that's just happening.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like I'm a
Mm-hmm.
really visual person too. I like that
Likewise.
word. Yeah, and I find that if I can see it, then I know what to expect, and then that kind of helps me say, oh, something's not quite right here, and you're able to call it out, and it helps you to kind of understand what the AI is trying to communicate when it's getting a bit too technical or a bit, because it's an expert
Yeah.
in a lot of areas that I'm not, and I'm not a great programmer, right? I said that a few times. So, like the idea that you can work with it and navigate and visualize it really helps. It's that classic thing of like vibe coding, isn't it? Like I change something and it breaks something. Why does the AI not know that when I change this it's going to break something over here? Well, if you give it the information, it certainly helps with that problem, right? Documentation, good context, and something like C4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the nicest parts is being able to see, hey, this is going to break that if I change it.
Yeah, definitely. And talking of breaking stuff, today was interesting. So what did we do? We yesterday we got to this point where we added this neat little feature, and we got to see like the delivery life cycle and how I do things in terms of doing things in vertical slices. If anyone's interested, it was our last stream, and hopefully over time we'll put some bookmarks there to make it a bit easier. But this was a really smooth phase, right? And everything just kind of worked, and it was great, and I felt very proud of myself. But the truth is it doesn't always work like that, and sometimes you get bugs. And I think when you build in public, it's I think learning that this is normal. It's normal in all coding environments to kind of break things and to try and solve the problems and see new things that come up. It could be a problem at runtime. It could be an issue with the tooling you've got on being on a wrong version, being incompatible. It could be your code's just not great. It could be the way you've approached the problem, because there's no rules, in terms of how you put things together and how you get certain things to work. You can argue about best practice, and there's a few things you can do to improve your chances and discipline, but generally a lot of the time you don't know the problems are going to persist. And I came across some of that today, without getting labored into it of exactly what happened. It was simply about looking at the way it was in the way something was implemented, and it was the terms that they use as synchronous versus asynchronous messaging, right? And so this is to explain this in a way that everyone can understand. When you prompt something and then you inject something into the prompt, so I say, "Hey, Claude, how you doing?" and I hit enter in the TUI. By default, that's what goes into the model. And, you know, it's called an STD in, and it's like a message, and it goes into the model, and then it spits out an answer, right, after it's worked out what to say. But you can actually inject on the way using these things called hooks. That one's called a submit prompt hook, because it's when you submit a prompt, and there's all different types for different things that happen in you know, it can be when you open it for the first time, that's called a session start. It can be when you click /exit, that's an end of session hook, and so on and so forth, right? And there's loads of these, and they're great, and you can use them to basically force the coding agent, whether it's OpenAI's or Claude in this case, to do things at certain times. And when you prompt inject, sometimes there's a bit of a race condition where the information comes back quicker or slower than the time it takes to respond. And so when you're trying to monitor things, there's a couple of ways you can deal with that. Synchronous would be is you just wait. You get it just to wait, not produce any output that tells you information, like you see here on the right, where it says user prompt was received, hook process spawned, this is what I received. You can say, just wait till we've got all of this and then post it. But that has challenges. Or you can do it asynchronously, where you say, run everything that happens here, and it doesn't matter if you respond before I've received it. All you then do is append it on the next message, you know, which feels more kind of fluid, right? But then you don't get the same level of control because you're not sure when it actually happened, right? So that's the trade-off. And in a nutshell, that was the problem I had today.
Dude, async and sync is a huge pain in the ass too. This was one of the biggest problems that Ty and I ran into whenever we were building the agent hub. Is initially we were using synchronous calls, and because we were calling to webhooks that were innate in, you know, innate in workflows with an LLM or two in there with some tools that they could use, it could take a little bit for the webhook to respond. And yeah, Cloudflare natively closes synchronous connections after 120 seconds. And there is no workaround for that.
Yeah,
so this synchronous async is a huge deal.
And this changes based on, like, if you're on Windows, if you're on Mac, if you're on Linux, and you know, this is yeah, dude.
Literally, like
double.
One for sync, one for async.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a common problem. So look, it's one of those things. I wasn't thinking about it at the time. It came up, and I decided to go with synchronous. Why? Because this is just an MVP, and this particular decision I didn't need to make right now. The view is I'm going to deliver the MVP, which proves that the entire idea of how this thing operates, right? As in, you manage it through hooks, you manage it through deterministic code. In the MVP, I'm just using TypeScript. And that's how you do everything that you want to do, all this cool stuff, right? Whether it's crons, whether it's skill invocation, whether it's, you know, all the magic, all the black box magic, I know will work if I can prove that I can do one thing. And that one thing is that when I type a prompt, I can inject it. It can trigger some kind of code deterministically. It can take that feedback. It can put it back into the message. It can then structure an output that's consistent and the same every time. And it can do that by calling what I call the algorithm, right? Where you put your discipline, your rules, and anything else magical. And this is a deep conversation that you can then layer with memory and all sorts of amazing stuff, right? But the general theory is if you can just prove this one thing, then you've got the foundation, right? So that's why that's the MVP. Not because the MVP is confirmed and that's it and it's done and that proves everyone can use it, but it proves the system. And everything after that is a lot easier, because the foundation is rock solid.
Yeah.
So I chose synchronous, but with the view that once the MVP is done, this goes on my list of these are decisions I need to make, and we have to weigh up the full scope of the system and where we want to go with it. But that's what I did today. And like you said, like Chase said, there's lots of arguments as to whether or not you should be async or synchronous, and there's lots of things to factor in. But remember, the use case here is just to make sure we had a way to monitor that it was working for the MVP. So I chose synchronous, right? That's what
I got some PTSD around that one.
Yeah, dude, it's an issue all the time, right? And I think down here I've got failed UAT once. There were 3 Windows landmines stacked under one error message. CMD exes command lines. There's a lot of technical Windows nuance.
Command execution, command line.
Yeah. And most of this stuff was quite straightforward. It was kind of like we picked up the problem, they noticed the thing, they fixed it. It was quite quick, but the sync async was like a real pain because even debugging it was difficult because we didn't know why. You're trying different things. And then I realized with conversation with AI, and then it was like, okay, this makes sense now, right? And a lot of that is because of the black box. It's the very problem we're trying to solve, right? It's that you don't actually know because Claude or Anthropic in this case, their harness isn't giving us the information we need. So we have to know where to look. Is it in the environment variables? Is it stored somewhere on Windows on the machine? Is it whatever, right? And if it's on a Mac, it's different. You get the gist, right? I think we get the gist.
Yeah.
So so made that decision, and we pretty much
it's really easy, is what you're saying. It's really easy.
Yeah, exactly. So where did we get to, right? So let's show it off, right? What do we got here? Okay, we got a session open. So I'm just gonna exit this. So we're just gonna go to the sandbox project. I did this. Yeah, okay, so we're already there. That's fine. So I'm just gonna run where we got to, right? Just to give you a little sense. Okay, so here it is, right? Here's glitch, and this uses our auth. Right. So that means that this isn't on API. I'm at 81% of my weekly limit. There we go. I'm on the 20x plan, if anyone's wondering. But it resets tonight, I think, so I'm all good. Yeah. So I'm all good. But this is the system. The algorithm information is going to be stored here. I haven't got the actual UI, but the piping's there. Glossary is going to be a place where to do with documentation. And over here is the monitoring section, right? Now, as you can see, I got a few prompts in here. These are prompts. This is from previous testing. This says list the files in the directory. So we can repeat some of these, right? So if I just take, in fact, let's just copy these and I'll just put them over here, just so as a reminder here on my screen. And I'll just hit enter there and there we go. Okay, good. And I'll put this over split screens. There we go. Okay, fine. It's not the prettiest, but we'll try and make it work. So I'm going to just clear these. So we got a fresh start. So these were the events that were persisted, right? And I just wanted to show you kind of how this is working at the moment, where we've got to, so you understand where we're going. So if I put in list the files in this directory, which is a very simple request, right? And I hit enter, Claude does its thing. And what's going to happen, hopefully, if things are working, is that the hook will fire, the submit prompt hook. There it is. And it will tell me what's going on. Shortly after, it will send an end of prompt, a response hook, right? So it tells me that what's happened. So it's given me my answer here. This is what you would usually see as a user. But actually what's happened is Claude sends the effort level, which I've got here as X high, right? The default setting. But actually it doesn't send one. And this is the first sign of what you see on the screen is not always what you think it really is. And this is to do with the fact that Opus 4.7 is adaptive thinking. And so even though you request X high, ultimately this thing here, the TUI decides.
Can you show that one more time there? I removed your camera so that we can see all of that because it was in the bottom right of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, effort level null.
Exactly. So Claude effort is absent and the harness doesn't get it. And it's called card 0. And it literally gives you the code here. So you know exactly where, which is great because you can then chuck that back into your AI terminal and ask it what it means, right? And it will tell you. But then something else happened. A prompt was received, right? And the prompt text, so this is the std in, it's a bit technical, but it says list the files in this directory, right? That was my prompt, right? So that's cool. We can measure that. We see that a prompt went in. Then the hook that I set up fired, right? The submit hook, right? That said, whenever I submit any message and I hit enter, do whatever it says in that hook, right? So it does that. There's the std in read. So it reads my prompt, right? Which is list the files directory. And execute this specific hook. Now, what that hook is asking it to do in the backend, which Claude Code wouldn't do as default, this is testing this theory that you can prompt inject, is to go through this classification workflow, right? And what it does is it says, is this a super, super duper simple thing? Like if I just say hi, right? Which is super simple. And what happens if I say hi? Well, let's have a look up here. There we go. And as you can see, fast path testing, it basically says this is a super simple query. I don't need to go through this classification workflow. Don't worry about it, just respond. And you get a nice quick response. And sometimes people say that's why is it that sometimes it responds really quickly and sometimes it doesn't? It's because it actually has this information going on in the back end, right? You just don't see. But this is what actually happened. I said list the files in this directory, which is also a simple request, but it still looked at that rule. It checked to see which model it should use. That's because I asked it to do this, right? So what it's doing is it's saying you're in Opus, but I want you to use Sonnet to answer this next question, right? And the reason I'm doing that isn't to do with saving tokens or saving money. It's because Sonnet is quicker. It's quicker at responding. It doesn't think for as long as Opus does. And what I'm asking it to do is to look at the prompt that I gave, which is list the files in this directory, and make a decision. Make a decision if this query needs a lot of effort, if it's a complex problem, and give it a code that says how hard you think it is. E1, effort 1 being the simplest type of query, and E5 being super complicated, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because if you can then inject on the prompt what kind of, say, effort or whatever else you can think of, you can tell the model to respond in a predefined, structured way, right? And this is how you start to control the randomness of a model, right? And so this is what we're testing. So what happened then is Sonnet dealt with it. It took this long to deal with it, 10,435 milliseconds, which is fine and wouldn't cause an issue for synchronous or asynchronous. But if this number was 100,000, you start to have problems. That's another story, right? This is why people do async, because sometimes these numbers get quite large when the model needs to compute. And it's done that. And what it did is it validated that this was a native query. In other words, a very simple query, right? And so what did it do? It then used the algorithm. So it used what the rules in the algorithm, and the algorithm says, can you please respond with a structured JSON that you're going to prompt inject that says the mode, which is native, it's made that decision, the tier, because in the future we can add tiers to this, you know, E1, E2, E3, or 4, and the reason. And the reason here it says is because this is just a single command to list files, right? Which is list the files in the directory. No new artifact was created, right? And as you can see here, that language, single command to list files, no new artifact created, it's not visible anywhere. So this is what's happening in the back end. This is the reasoning, this is the thinking, right? And then what it did is it merged that. Note injection occurs, not observable directly. In other words, you can't see it here. That's the harness doing the work. Then it gets appended to
Wait, real quick, with that harness, do we get to see, or can we see what the note was that was injection? What is injected?
Yeah, it's that. It's this here.
Oh, it's the algo. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally the algo in this case. Yeah, absolutely. But you can define the rules on this because it's just JSON. You can tell it to print and show you as much as you like or don't. And so that's what happened. It did that. And then we've got that here. So then it gives you the full prompt, right? And it puts it as an event in JSON-L. Then the hook was done. So the hook exited. I've done my job. I'm out of here, right? And then we get this response. Okay, so that's great, fantastic. So we know that that works, right? Then if we take a slightly more complicated prompt, what's a bash shell? Let's see what happens there. Now, I think this is a pretty straightforward question as well. What's a bash shell? So I think it's going to follow a very similar path, but I'm expecting there to be a little bit more thinking involved, but I'm expecting this to be native E3. Okay, so here we go. We have our first part, which is the first hook. We still haven't closed this. There you go. Now it's closed, right? So that was pretty quick, right? And as you can see, the response is pinged back very quickly, right? There was no waiting involved. It was really quick. Now, if you just defaulted without a classification, so why am I doing this? Well, if I didn't use Sonnet to make this inference and validate it as native, and in this case, it was a single fact lookup, no artifact created, right? Then what that tells me now is that the model is told you can respond now. Don't worry, you can respond. So no waiting for X high while it loops, trying to work out your simple question for over a minute. And you're sitting there thinking, should I look at Instagram Reels? I only asked it what the time was, you know, right? There's none of that, right? Because you've got this system. You're refining the harness, right? You're making it more effective.
So the artifacts, just to make sure I fully understand as well, the artifacts are anything that it has created, any process, anything that it has to check in on or it's waiting on a response from.
Yeah, so the artifact would be if it had to append further information saying that this is more complicated than native.
So are those a different additional fields inside of the JSON?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so artifacts are additional fields that, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, let's show you that, right?
Yeah.
So let's ask it a question that isn't so simple, right? I picked this one because it's nasty. I haven't actually tested this, so this might go wrong. I'm just saying. But, you know, we'll learn, right? Yeah. So I thought this was a good one. Design a payment processing system with Stripe and webhook retry logic. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. So this one is not going to be a quick response. I know that already because
it's probably going to go async.
Because it could time out. Yeah. So let's find out if it times out. See if Sonnet can deal with it quick enough. If it can't, the question then becomes, if we want to optimize this, should we check how it is with Haiku? Maybe we should see if Opus is any quicker doing it. Should we try and force effort? There's so many different ways to take this, right? And this is where evaluation and testing happens. But how will you know any of that if you don't have the information, right?
Yeah, you can't measure it with accuracy.
Right. And just to emphasize the point to anyone that watches this is a development environment, right? So, you know, in the perfect world, if you guys wanted to use a system like this, you'd have access to it, but I wouldn't expect you to use this, right? This is really a tool for me. Oh, look, okay, we got a response. That's awesome. So this is going to be interesting. Did it work? It did work. Amazing. So it's still not replied. But so we're waiting for it to reply so we can get the full thing. We're currently here. Let's see what happens. It's still not replied. Wow. How interesting. So this has all happened beforehand. And what's happened? It says the prompt was received, the hook, okay, now it's replied. And now I can see the response, right? So what happened? It did the same thing, but this time you can see there's a lot more classification going on, right? It took about 48,334 milliseconds. It said it did need to infer, right? And it validated that the algorithm says this is a multi-file system design spanning payment integration, webhook, and retry logic architecture. So it's actually something a little bit complicated. It shouldn't be native. It should use
out of E5, right? E5 would be the most complicated.
Correct. And actually, this would actually probably be an E5. The only reason we see E3 is because in this MVP, E3 is the only one that I've got. So actually, that you can almost ignore that. It will always be 3. But the field that gives it away is this. It says mode. Now, native means no need to do anything more, right? Algorithm says whatever the rules are in the algorithm need to be applied to this because I've identified that this is a more complex problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Claude Code then merged that initial additional context. It appended some cards, right? Okay, good. The hook exited, and then we had the final thing. Okay, great. So what does this tell us? It tells us that our little system is working for now. For now. So the next thing we should do is let's make it actually respond based on the algorithm, right? So currently, what did we get? We got this kind of typical response. It kind of, this looks pretty good. You know, I haven't read it, but I'm sure it's right.
No, I was thinking, man, it probably will tell us that this is going to take 3 days and 3 to 5 days to complete.
Yeah, up to 3 days.
Oh, no,
yeah.
The
oh, is that different? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I got excited because
that would have been too funny. Where it tells you it's like this is going to take 3 days to code, and you're like, but dude, I'm not coding it. You are.
Exactly. Dude, how is that? Is such a like common thing. Yeah, I've seen so many memes.
Yeah.
What do you mean for me to code? It's going to take 3 minutes for me to. What, you're telling me to code? Yeah. No.
You know, it might be worth actually asking at some point the LLM whenever it replies back with one of those responses. Why are you saying this is going to take 3 days? Like what parameters are you assuming here? Because you're going to do this work, not me.
Yeah, I reckon it would say something like, we should make a bet and like ask it. I reckon it will say something like, I'm sorry, you've called me out. I was just estimating and I shouldn't have done that because you always tell me to be honest and verify my facts and something like that.
You sound just like one. You sound, Kem, are you still human? Have you become AI? Because that is verbatim what I would expect.
I don't even know anymore. I should have asked it how long it was going to take me today. I was trying to set up my my desktop space for my new monitor, and I wanted to get my Mac set up for clam mode and all that kind of stuff, like I used to have in my old place. So I was like trying to like measure out wires and stuff, and I was thinking like, yeah, I should have just asked AI to do it, But there we go. Still, there's some things you still can't do with AI, So there we go.
I thought that was just a prop that you had in case you needed to measure something.
No, that's this.
Because that's a great prop.
This is my only prop.
My God, what is that? A medieval torture device?
No, it's a bottle opener. It's a wine bottle opener.
Wine opener.
We're civilized in Britain. Chase.
Yeah, torture you with alcohol.
All right. Okay, cool.
Glass.
Yeah. So, where are we? We called to continue? I've lost track. Sorry.
Let's get it.
I told you I was all over the place today after all these problems.
Sorry, everyone that's watching this afterwards. This is
I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. That's part of the fun, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what am I going to do? Okay, I'm gonna close down the server. So I'm just going to Control C. There we go. Boom. So we've closed that down. And let's clear our context because we made a bit of a mess here. I don't want to start from that. So let's get rid of that. How are you doing? How's Claude doing? It's doing fine. I've got a theory about this. So it asks you how for feedback. I have this theory that if you say bad, they're probably going to view your logs, right? Like diagnostics. If you say excellent, they're going to ignore you. If you say great, they're going to probably think that's fine, right? So if you say fine, which is like just one away from bad, they might just like give you a little bit more compute to make you happy, to like help it perform better.
Wow.
This is
You're
this,
telling me that complaining actually works?
this is my conspiracy theory. Like, I have absolutely no rhyme or reason for this, but I always respond with fine, no matter what. I always respond with fine. I'm sorry, Anthropic. I'm sorry.
You know, this tracks with actually my apartment complex recently. They took away our free coffee,
Yeah.
which is part of the reason I lived here, was to go get free coffee. So I might be part of the reason it's taken away, but that's beside the point. I was promised this free coffee, and yeah, I went and complained after they took it away, and now we have limited free coffee. So complaining works. Complaining works.
It can do. I'm a big believer. If you
Yeah.
complain, if you complain, I'm British, so we kind of like, we don't like to complain, but if we do, we just kind of do it in a really like passive aggressive way, you know, like we're not as like direct with it. But like, yeah, I think it often works. Also, we're not so good at customer service here. Like, Americans are much more customer service driven, I think.
You would think.
You'd think. Okay, so what are we going to try and do here? Okay, so I suspect this will be a disaster. But what we're going to try and do in theory is, when we get those algorithm calls, I'm going to ask for it to try and architect the kind of approach I want to take to the problem, right? Using like a basic methodology. It's the ISA methodology that's been used by Apple in the past and a couple of other things. And so I want it to kind of follow a think, then plan, then design, you know, this kind of a thing. And so I want it to kind of do that. So let's see here. Briefing you on a resume state. Where we are, clean main. Okay, this is talking about my GitHub stuff. Okay, synthetic probe handshake, fine. One committed item to address. Oh, that's my HTML. So that's this thing here that I just went through. So it's saying, oh, you've edited that. And so like we've got that thing. Commit a standalone chore first. Yeah, okay, so let's just clean up the directory. So this is just a bit of admin. It's just saying that file that I edited ahead of the session, which was that HTML, as I said, to say where we were, wasn't yet committed. So the right thing to do here would probably be to ignore that, which just means that it doesn't get pulled in, so I can just edit it randomly. But just for now, because we're here, so it's going to set it up as a chore. It's going to stage that, and then it's going to push the PR through. And like I said to people, I can talk to people about my approach to GitHub, but you know, there's lots of ways to do it, and don't worry about it too much. I would say just talk to AI and learn how to get something committed.
And at some point, let me know whenever you want to go through your approach to GitHub, because we are going to, of course, be moving this over or working on it from the Glitch Cat Club account.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And
yeah,
and like how we set up issues and the features and stuff like that, and how we work together, and how we don't deal with conflicts and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really cool to learn how to use GitHub and like work with someone else. You know, I think a lot of people get into the vibe of like, you know, I use GitHub in so many different ways, and it's a great tool. It's definitely far from perfect. There's lots of issues with it. I use AI to do most of it, manage most of it, even on this auto mode that I like to do, because it's got a lot better. It often warns me about problems, and so I'm not too worried. So yeah, I mean, that's something we should definitely do. We could probably spend quite a large chunk of a coding session on that. You know,
I think it'd be also useful, because we could take the transcript of it and we can use that to create the like an SOP of how we do it. And then in the future, even whenever we have members of the community that want to contribute to GlitchCat, you know, they will already have an SOP of, hey, this is how we operate. This is how, if you want to contribute to it, if you want to.
It's a great idea. Yeah, having some standard operating procedures is always a good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. You know, take the open source approach and like, let people submit pull requests and have them have AI roast them, and
have Glitch roast them.
Yeah, have Glitch roast them, exactly.
How dare you want to make these changes to my repo?
Yeah,
you peasant. Get me another fur ball or another ball of yarn and saucer of milk.
No, but all jokes
Virtual
aside,
saucer, of course.
yeah. So what it's saying here is it's lifting some of the skill. There's a neat skill in the Meisler Pi directory that has been edited and enhanced, and it's the same structure, and that is the ISA, because the first time I saw that was on the Pi repo, and it's a really cool skill. In fact, let's look at it. So
did you say Eisler or Meisler?
Meisler, but it's the ISA. So within, so if you look at, this is Daniel Meisler's personal AI infrastructure, and it's got some pretty neat things. He's got some clever things in his own algorithm that I quite like. It's not quite how I would do things, so take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of people love it. Definitely worth checking him out. He's a really interesting guy.
And I'll throw out there, this is where my journey started. For anyone that wants that additional information, that additional knowledge, I think that a lot of his early work is absolutely beautiful. It's amazing, and Jack's, my own system, was built initially off of the foundations that Meisler supplied early on in V1 and V2. So a lot of good lessons to take out of his work.
Yeah, I think that's right. I've heard a lot of good feedback from people who inherited his, and he did a really good job of documenting the whole idea about the architecture and stuff. And some of those principles definitely hold for today. One of them, like the fact that he thinks when it comes to memory, that RIP, grep, and just standard MDs still give you a pretty decent performance up to like 100,000 files. So there's loads of good things. But one of the things he has is this, he has this folder of skills. And one of them is called ISA. Here it is. And let's see, can we... so ISA owns the ideal state artifact. It's a universal primitive that holds an articulated ideal state of anything. So project, task, application, library, etc. And so the idea is that this helps you define a methodology for how to approach a certain problem. And it's really neat. So, it looks at vision, principles, observe, and you can inherit it into algorithms, right? And so I thought, for the MVP, let's just take this great little bit of work. It's open source, right? And let's just steal that to save us from, going into the details of how we want it and our own taxonomies and stuff, which takes time. And so I'm lifting that and a couple of other things. And what I'm hoping will happen is, what we're going to prove is that when the problem is hard enough, we're going to call our own algorithm to make the decision. And then it will basically launch this skill, but adapt it into JSON so that we have a certain type of format. That's the vision. But I'm not confident. So we're going to see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I was curious, real quick. With one of Meisler's, if you can go back to that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
you're
right
good.
Here.
Yeah, just click. Perfect.
This is his skills folder for.
Yeah. So his daemons. What is the? Is that just like how to create the daemons, or?
Where did you see he does use?
Yeah, I think it was within the skills, within the skill folder, the same location as the ISA, just up a little bit. And I noticed they had a daemon. Yeah.
So this must be a skill to manage the daemon. So he's got this system, I think he calls Pulse, which is run through Bun. To daemon, manage the public daemon profile, which is a living digital representation of what you're working on, thinking about. So this is his, because in his system, he has this idea of a principal identity, which is the user's identity via a question thing. It's basically, it's interesting because it uses a similar philosophy that I really agree with. He uses a session start hook. So the moment he launches Claude in the terminal, it instantly loads the files in that hook. And one of them is who your agent is and who you are. And so the context is already there. So that gives you this feeling like it knows you, right? It's a bit of an illusion, but it's pretty neat, right? It's a neat illusion. And you can expand on that in all sorts of interesting ways. But daemon how he manages, I think, a lot of his scheduling, right? So it says here structurally excludes this stuff, but it's a deterministic pattern. You see, he does a lot that I like, right? This is a lot of very similar things. He's got some voice notifications linked to it, to a voice AI.
Yeah, quick question for you. And this might be an operating system dependent question. So please, feel free to let me know if that's the case. But like I use cron jobs, right? So I run Chronicle locally. I have that deployed to my like a local port, and then that's what manages all of my cron jobs, all of my daemons, right? All of my automated processes.
Okay.
What's the do you know off the top of your head the pros and cons versus using like a daemon file management versus just like Chronicle or some other open
I think
source
it's the same. Daemon and Cron, yeah. Like so you use Linux, but do you use Linux on a Windows machine? You do, right?
I do, yeah.
So WSL, right? So you use a Linux kernel. So a lot of this stuff will break on a Linux kernel on a Windows machine because of the nuance of how it kind of communicates and some Windowsy stuff. I don't know the technical. I could maybe ask AI actually while this is just plugging away. So let's just quickly catch up on what it's doing, and then we'll answer that question because it's a good one. I just want to see what it's doing because I left it alone, which was dangerous considering authoring Claude MD strict obedience contract. Okay, so in my glitch sandbox, my test project, if you like, that I'm testing stuff with, I don't have a Claude MD yet, right? So what it's doing is creating the MD that says you have to abide by the rules in the algorithm, right? So you are running inside glitch. Glitch observes every step of how prompts become responses and renders each step as a card in the right rail, right? Cards fire only when the underlying tool call is observed. The absence of a card is read as the honest absence of the action. Oh, it's just running some smoke screen tests.
Oh.
I'm sure it's okay. You can ignore that. It's going to shut it down in a second. It's just doing some smoke tests. And then it says there's an ISA, and so it's explaining the skill and why it has to be followed, ideal state, etc. There's a deployment gap. I missed that, so this is interesting. Sync subdir directory only resyncs the Claude subtree, but Claude MD lives at the project root. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
So basically, what that means is, as I'm developing on this thing, and I'm updating stuff, there's two types of folders, right? One is this fake project, which is like imagine you open a file and you start working on it like a file directory, that stuff, which is your Claude folder for that project. Then there is the Claude root, which is your tilde.claude folder, which is above it. So everything you put in that goes across all projects, right? Like a plugin that you install or something, right? With a slash command, like /GSD or something.
And those are also hidden, right?
Well, they're in the Claude root, right?
Well, by default, those tilde files.
Well, they're there somewhere, but I don't know wherever your CLI installs when you install Claude. Yeah. Wherever that installs, that's where it is. On a Mac, that might be your $home directory. On a Windows, it might be OEM user, whatever, right? I don't know what it is. It depends on your computer setup. And what it's saying is there's also this other section called a manifest, right? And that's the stuff that we're working on. We're building out the system and whatever. And every time I update a feature and I push it to production, the manifest updates its version number, right? So that when I reopen Glitch, my little UI, it updates with the latest things that I've updated in it, right? But it's saying here there's a deployment gap because I've now installed some skills, right, that I wanted to reference, and that's not in the manifest, right? So we have to find a way to get it into the system or it's not going to work because my code's going to say, look for this skill, and it's not going to be there, right? Yeah. Right. So it's saying and it doesn't want to install it in my real Claude because that's what I'm working on to develop it, right? It's not in the sandbox, right? Mm-hmm. So it's getting a bit confused. So that's what this is about. So let's see what it said. There's a deployment gap. Sync your subdirectories to .claude only resyncs the .claude subtree, but Claude MD lives at the project root. Fresh installs work, full bundle copy, but Kem's existing deploy won't pick up new Claude MD on relaunch because of this manifest is giving the updates. Step 1 spec assume no main process changes needed. I need to extend the sync to handle glitch authorized root files. In this case, it's fine because it's just a skill, so I don't even mind that it's in my own system, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But actually what it should have done is, if I wasn't paying attention and that was something more serious, that could have been a bit of a disaster, right? Because it would have installed my test stuff all into my Claude root, right? So all 26 deploy syncs passed. It's now doing my end of process checks, running type check and lint, my ESLint to check my code is good. And then it updated a few things. That's fine. Okay. It then did the smoke test, which is why the screen popped up when we were talking. Okay, so that's pretty good. Then it says implementation landed on my pull request 63, and that's where it is. All static gates green, both verification harness pass, ready for live UAT. So this is where we find out everything broke. Okay, so quick recap of what we shipped so you can read in the chain. Okay, I put in a Claude MD at project root, a 56-line strict obedience contract, which we kind of saw, which tells Claude when you see mode algorithm, do 3 things in order. Read this file. It then creates a card in the rail to tell me that it did it, invoke the skill, this ISA, fires card 14 to say that it's done that, then it outputs, in line with preamble on native minimal, ignore all of this, respond normally, okay, fine. Then it says number 2, it set up the ISA skill and the workflow scaffold, which was adapted from Pi, which is correct, blah, blah, blah. One small process change, and this is the one we saw up there that we caught, sync root files. So existing deploys resync the project root, Claude on version bump. Okay, so every time I do a version bump, I now have to be aware that my actual Claude root is going to be updated. Do you see? So if you're not aware of this stuff, you're not sure of this stuff, this can really mess you around. So you got to be a little bit careful. Okay, good. So where are we? We're at 172K context and we're ready for our user accepted testing. You up for it, Chase? You up for giving it a go and seeing what happens?
Let's do it, dude. Let's see what happens.
Ooh, gosh, I'm nervous. This is a pretty big one.
Dude, learn in public.
Break in public.
Break in public. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, dude. Great. Okay. What is it telling me to do for the UAT? It's saying launch a glitch fresh. It's saying it should sync and pick up my Claude MD, Skill MD, and scaffolding because of this change we made. Okay, cool. Type the demo prompt, which is the complicated one. Design a payment processing system with Stripe. It's a good one. Capture and paste back the results. And it's saying, let's talk about what we're expecting to see. We've already spoken about that. Okay, right. Let's do it. So let's get this going. So we're in the directory already. So I'm going to run run dev. That should launch it. It launched. That's a good sign. Okay, good. Cleared context. And let's give it a go. So design a payment processing system. Wish me luck. Now, I don't expect this to work, but let's just see how it goes.
So are you building our retirement agent right now? Is this it's gonna start building us cool stuff and then collecting payments? Is that what I'm
That's the plan. Oh, it just said 2 skills dropped. I wonder, I just saw that on the screen. I needed to check that. Okay, let's just remember that, because when it doesn't work, that's something I need to communicate. Okay, good. 2 skills dropped. Okay. So let's see what happens here. So it's taking a nice long time, which is to be expected. I reckon about 50 seconds.
Yep. 2 skills dropped. Yep. 2 girls as well. How many times?
Okay, this is taking a long time. Okay, let's see what happens.
Under the 100 seconds though, so we're still good from Cloudflare.
Well, let's see.
Maybe
55,000. It did validate its algorithm, so that's good, right? So it did work out this was complicated. It did send it to Sonnet. Sonnet did infer it. Mode algorithm, tier E3 reason. So that's all good. We like that. Claude Code merged additional context into the prompt. It appended it to the JSON and the hook exited. Okay. So nothing broke from the original flow. Oh, look.
woo woo. The skill ISA
Successfully loaded. Okay. So the trigger is working. That's good. So that, and we're not touching anything, right? This is all part of the harness. So this unlocks, and it looks simple now, but this unlocks a lot. This means the algorithm is working. So let's see. Okay, and let's see what happened. Okay.
So what the response was. Yeah, we gotta
Look at it. It's a very different kind of response to the first one, right? And look what it's doing. It's doing exactly what we want it to do. It looks like it's literally done it. Payments today break in two ways. So it's broken it down based on ISA compliance. It said problem, then vision, then out of scope, then constraints, then goal, then criteria, and then it's set up the ISCs for each of the problems and how to approach the problem and how to make sure you don't make any mistakes. Features, it's got the name, it's got the module. So it's broken it down and it satisfies each one of the ICSs, which is exactly what it should be doing. This is amazing. This is amazing, dude. This is amazing. So okay, good. So let's share with, let's expand all. Let's show this. Let's take all of this. Right. I'm going to leave a little message. So I've just ran the prompt. I saw that the ISA skill was invoked. This was the output in the algorithm trace. Would you like me to share the format of the full prompt response too? Okay, and then I'll share the, sorry, I was talking on voice to text. I'm going to share that. And then I'm also going to copy this just in case we need it. Let's have a look. Payments problem, skill ISA, designer payment. Right click, copy. This is the paste dump from the terminal window for your information. Paste. Boom. Okay. And let's see if it thinks we pass. So capture, center pane, the full response. I'll check for 8 sections in canonical order. Let's see if it had that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only see 7 sections. Was it meant to have 8? Well, I don't know. Maybe that's just a thing. Let's see. Right car rail. Oh, we didn't check that actually. The rail. Did we see the right cards? 13 here. It said, right, 13, 14, and 16 payloads and confirm card 15 is absent. 13, that's right. 15 is absent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the honest signal that check completeness isn't shipped. That's right, because we haven't yeah, okay, that's fine. So that's just it in the test, it intentionally left a kind of thing, but 14, I don't see 14. So something's not quite right. So we'll see. Yes, please, paste the full response. I need to verify the 8 sections appear in canonical order, at least 1 anti-IC. Meanwhile, 3 observations for the chain. Card 13 fired, perfect. Card 16 looks healthy, which is anchored to prompt. Card 14 is absent. That's the only gap. The scanner expects skill tool use with input skill scaffold. There are 2 ways Claude could satisfy this. Actually call the skill tool or just read the skill file and follow the procedure. From card 13 to 16, it looks like it chose the option 2, which is fine. Compose the scaffold himself, which produces the right output, but doesn't emit a skill tool use the scanner can see. Let me confirm by reading the transcript. Okay. So it's saying as long as it followed the rules, we can refine this, but that's, yeah, so that would be check completeness. Outstanding output, full 8-section scaffold in canonical order for anti-criteria, A1 to A4, no preamble, no follow-up question. Pillar 3 behavior changes demonstrably achieved. The only gap is card 14. Let me confirm the root cause from the transcript. Root cause confirmed right here. And it says CC's skill tool takes a one-arg skill family plus a second argument string for the workflow. Our scanner, the Pi 2-argument lift convention, the scanner is what's wrong, not Claude or Claude MD. The substance is a clean pass. Okay, good. Per plan, one retry fix is in library transcript scan TS and protocol. Okay, so it's going to see if it can fix this. Now, Claude Code soften the step 2 wording to match CC's actual skill semantics. Okay. Probe passes 1313 correct CC change. It did a programmatic check of the change it just did. Okay. And then it updated this. All green, committing the R37 fix. And I'm going to just interrupt it while it's committing. Do you think we should run the UAT test again based on the changes you just made? The answer should be correct. Yeah. Live UAT results. Oh, for the retry UAT, please pull the latest branch and rerun. Oh, sorry. I actually said to do it. I hadn't read it. It actually says to do it. I'll leave it to. So what it's saying, please pull the latest branch and rerun, which means that it wants me to exit this and rerun because the branch is live. Let me wait and see that it's live. Hold on. All clean. Yeah. Okay, good. That's the branch there. Let's have a hold on. How would you like to verify the card 14 scam fix? Replay it on your real transcript. Full live re-UAT. Okay. So it says it's clean and it was the step 2 doctrine deploy. So let's just check that it agrees. So I think what it wants us to do is rewrite. Let's try it. Run dev. Okay, let's clear this one. So we have a clear starting point. Okay, right. And what does it say? Before launching glitch, the update scanner is in your local source. Committed. The B4 deploy sync will overwrite from the bundle on Lex launch, automatic in dev mode, which is what I've just done. Stop running glitch instance. I did that, but we'll do it again just in case there was a timing issue. Run dev. Okay, should have been fine anyway, but we'll just do it. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, there was no timing issue because the change we made persisted. Type B3, so we're going to do the same prompt again. This is what good UAT looks like. We don't just assume it's fixed, although it's a tiny problem. We're going to give it a go. Oh. Now let's see if it beats the clock again this time. And then wait for a response. Complete 55-second classifier and response stream. Paste back the card 14 payload. So last time it didn't give us card 14. So what we're looking for is card 14. Canonical, even though CC's transcript. Okay, so it thinks it's fixed it in a way that it will give us card 14. I'm not convinced, but we'll give it a go. It's not a big deal because what it's basically saying is it didn't follow the exact procedure, but ultimately the output was kind of well disciplined. But you want to remove the model doing that. You want it to be deterministic because this is a problem if you don't address up front that can manifest, but this is an MVP. So as long as this kind of works, I'm kind of okay with it, you know? Okay, let's have a look. So there's no 14 at the moment, but let's wait for the post. It's going to come up with a response. It did classify the algorithm correctly, so it called the algorithm. It exited the hook correctly. That's good. There's the skill being loaded. Sorry, Chase, I'm so focused. I'm probably not being very entertaining.
No, that's perfect, bro.
All right.
Deep dive, you know.
Yeah, a bit of a deep dive.
Slice.
Let's see if we can get this puppy working. I mean, it's working, but it's just, needs a bit of, tidying up around the edges. Now, you know what's interesting? This is the second time we've run the prompt. So what we're expecting is for the output to look almost identical, right? Unlike the last time, right? So we want that same format in the message. And we've definitely, oh, look at that. Look at that.
Number 14.
And that's the scaffold. And as you can see, we've got the same exact approach. The canonical. See, goal, constraints, you see? And it's as simple as that. Expand all. Now, this might not seem like such a big win to people, but what you got to understand is what this unlocks. Yeah, exactly. So this means that you can almost do anything. So I'm going to paste that. Here is the output of the algorithm trace. Very glad to see 14 in there. And this is the paste from the terminal output for your information. Okay, let's just take a copy of this. I am shocked. Why does everything always go right on stream and awful off stream? I really expected more. I really expected issues.
This is probably why Togi wins so much. He just streams so much.
yeah.
That's like the universe's thing.
That's the hack, dude. That's the hack. I just got to do all my development on stream. I'll never have a bug again.
Yeah. Or if you do, it'll be fixed. Like,
okay, Claude just magically works out. It's like Anthropic are watching, and they want everyone to see how great conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, I need a good conspiracy sound bit. Time to ask Jack for some of those.
And look at this. UAT pass confirmed, all criteria met. Also worth notifying, classifier latency was even quicker, well inside the 60-second ceiling. 50 seconds, well inside the 60-second ceiling. 50 seconds, well inside the 60. Not so sure about that. I think that's pretty close. Card 14 firing was R37 retry. Okay, slice substances done. Now look at this. This is hopefully the thing we've improved from yesterday. And this was that at the end of this, we're at 219,000 contexts. So we've probably got about 200,000 tokens now to play with administration. And what should happen is hopefully autonomously, it should now update everything, right? So it should do a walk of the plan, the portability, what needs to change between Mac OS and whatnot. It should capture documentation. It should update everything, and it should all be magic, and there should be no problems at all, and I shouldn't have to ask it to verify anything at all. So let's hopefully watch that and see it work. I did a bit of refining this morning. It was going well today, but who knows? So here we go. It's updating the plan status. That's quite normal. It would usually do that even without being prompted. Okay, do you want to check some of these diffs? Okay, yeah, so it's just closing the points on the status. That's fine. Okay. We've got we've not been merged yet. There's been no merge request. So let's wait and see. We've passed UAT, which is a quality gate for us getting it merged. I promise we're nearly done on this slice, Chase. Sorry if it took a bit too long. Oh, I can't hear you. Are you there? Oh, I can't hear you at all. And I can't check on stream because it will create the old... let me see if I can look up here. Oh, you seem to be there, but I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, okay. Were you away from computer for a second? I couldn't see you.
Yeah, for a second.
Okay, no problem, bud. I was just like talking to myself. No.
To the abyss? What the
Yeah,
abyss here that I didn't?
yeah. So nothing unusual, dude. It just felt like a normal day for me just then. I was like, is he even real? Is this all in my imagination? Mr. Robot vibes. That's like, have you seen Mr. Robot?
Mm-mm.
You haven't? Oh, you got to watch Mr. Robot, dude. It's a great show. It's basically about this guy who's like this incredible hacker, like this just genius, and it's done really well. It's done like more realistic hacking. It's not like movie hacking, you know. It's like real.
Oh, cool.
And he's got this like like a kind of not schizophrenia, but like yeah, like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So he like hears voices and he sees people and he thinks that he's working in some big project to take down this company called Evil Corp, and it's like all in his head, and he's like masterminding the whole thing. So I thought I was just having my little like Mr. Robot moment where I'm like, I'm on stream, and I think you're there, but you're not really. You're all like in my head. And it would make more sense if you'd seen the show. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're updating the algorithm flow in the MD. That's good. Oh, look at that. So look, it's actually following the walkthrough now. So V1 backlog is where I'm tracking all of the things that I think would be neat features in the official first version as opposed to the MVP. So it's basically saying why MVP doesn't load it, PRD scope. So this is saying the completeness check, for example, like this is something that we could put in. Planning, it updates the plan. Okay, now it looks like it's, so it's gonna do my slice now. R9 sweep pushed, which is the walkthrough and the check of all my rules for ending the session. We're still in a really healthy context window, 256K. Generally, I wouldn't do any development past around 180, but if you're just updating like documents and stuff, I'm quite happy to go to about 400K, as long as you have a very regimented way of doing it, like a skill. This is where the 1 million context window comes in handy. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so let's have
it just a little bit further.
Yeah, so let's have a look here. So what you can see is everything's been merged, right? So that's great. Pre-clear briefing, which is automatic, and it tells me what the next slice would be. So I can have it in layman and understand what's coming. So it's an atomic write of the status line and status JSON. The goal to lay the pipe that would lay the pipe. Choice words. Lay the pipe.
Okay, Claude, you just tell us how it is.
My goal is to lay the pipe that will eventually feed. Jesus Christ, Claude, what is going on?
Oh, what are you trying to say here?
Wait, what is going on? Lay the pipe that will eventually feed Glitch's right rail.
What?
This is getting out of hand. This is not PG. Status block. Okay, cool. The live readout of context. Okay, cool. So it's saying a 5-hour quota, 7-day quota. Okay, so what this is saying is, you know how like in our core Claude auth package, I've got 82% for my weekly limit.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wanted to design was a neat little context widget, which is like a circle and another circle around it that had like my 5-hour limit, like how much I've used up, and when it resets, and then my weekly limit around that. So I could always just see it, right, in the UI. So this is like some nice to have stuff. What changes visibly is the plumbing. So it's not going to do the actual visual. It's just going to get it set up. Pure plumbing, nothing changes in the UI on this slice. Your launch glitch and everything looks the same today. The right rail will still show events and cards, the center pane, blah, blah, blah. Success, 2 things land. The status JSON, which is, this is your status line, and your JSON schema, right? And it's saying UAT is hybrid. I run a bundled hook against synthetic payload and paste the resulting JSON for you to eyeball. Thanks. The live update. Now, this is one of those ones where this is kind of like doing a horizontal pass. And I would actually argue with Claude about this, right? So one of the key development principles that I try to follow is vertical slices, which means that we don't ever implement stuff that it can only be checked programmatically. We kind of aim to see everything from back to front. And what it's really saying is, I'll do all the back end stuff and then we'll just move on, assume it's done because I've done some programmatic checks. And then in the future, we'll add the thing that actually becomes visual. That to me is a horizontal development. So I would debate this and I would say, if you're going to do this, do the visual part too, so that I can actually do user acceptance testing and actually see that it looks good, that it's correct, that it's giving me the right data, right? And then I can sign it off, right? Otherwise, it's just a thing that sits there. It could be forgotten. Something else could affect it. And then we won't know, was it when it was first implemented? Was it something else that just conflicted with it? So this is the principle, right? When we implement something, we want to see it from start to finish, unless it's something like the algorithm where obviously we knew that it was publishing this E3 thing. We just haven't given it the skills. Well, that's okay, because I understand that that's an architectural thing that I'm not worried about, because it's not programmatic. You know, just having a skill file, I just want to know that it gets called and that's enough. So this is something I would debate. And so what I would do now under normal circumstances is I would debate that. I'm not going to do it now because we've just completed a slice, but in the morning when I wake up, that's the conversation that I'm going to have. Time it will take 50 minutes, apparently. No, it won't. You're going to be much quicker than that, Claude, because you're doing the work. More like sub-minute, pal. Suggested branch name, okay. And it tells me I'm clean to clear, which means everything's been updated and checked. Resume glitch build. And what I would often do here is I would just say, if I wasn't paying attention and I was making a coffee or whatever, I might just say, can you verify everything? So what I'm going to just say is, we won't have to do it now looking at it, we'll shut it down, but I'll just say, this looks fantastic. I want to talk a little bit more about the next slice, but not today, right now. It looks like you've done everything in the ending of the slice in terms of our protocols. Can you just ensure that the walkthrough was conducted and all the appropriate files were updated? And can you ensure that our HTML, which tracks our progress, is updated too? And what that means is that our phase 9 now section that reads the chain tells the truth at every step is updated, or the step that we've just completed, which I think is C5, but I may be mistaken. And any lessons learned and things like that are all captured too. Now that was a bad prompt, but I'm getting tired and I'm just going to go for it. And so, yeah, I thought I'd just stop there and see how we're doing, bud.
It sounds like you probably should pay for a $1,300 prompt course.
yeah, from my local college. And look, dude, that only cost us.
You get a certification as well.
Yeah, and that only cost us $211 in API tokens.
Oh, that's all.
Not much at all, right?
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine if you had to live on API tokens instead of a £200 plan? Oh, look, here we go. Look at that. It did pretty good. It missed one. It did the slice journal. It did the plan status. It did the lessons. These are the important ones. The Pi algorithm, the backlog for things that we want to put into V1, the plan, the demo script. The demo script's a funny one. It was a script that I was going to put together when I first presented this to you. And somehow this like persisted, and now it just keeps updating it. I keep forgetting to delete it. So this is toxic in context, right?
Skip correctly. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, well, this is toxic, right? Because what happens is it searches things and it says, as per the demo script, we should do this. And that was something that I just drafted like before I'd done any development. It was like, oh, we could maybe do this, we could maybe do that. I need to delete it because it's context wrong, right? So I need to get rid of that. So portability.
You know what's crazy? Real quick. Just because it's so funny, all of these concepts kind of feel like they root back to very similar underlying problems. And as we mentioned yesterday, oftentimes it's the initial direction that the LLM model goes,
And
or even
randomly, right? It decides where to go. Yeah.
yeah, or even some of those early files that it creates randomly that, hey, at the time you're like, oh, great, we have a demo script. Like, that's not bad. But for whatever reason, it anchors to that demo script file. And then it keeps going back to there. And 2 months later, you're asking yourself, whoa, why are we still
Yeah,
going
we've
back
gone over
to this
this.
demo script
We've
file?
moved on from this. We changed our complete project direction.
Yeah.
You should know this, right? Totally.
Yeah.
And that can manifest, like, imagine you're
It's a real problem
you're
too.
developing and it follows like a plan, and then you've got some pre-plan that's still in there, and it just happens to read that first. Just randomly, right? It was rip grep, it's the first thing that comes up, you know, something silly happens and it starts executing differently. Right. And usually you can pick it up, but most people don't pay attention. You know, and this comes back down to this thing of when we approached this project, we begun with this research. We did a lot of alignment interview, and this is the context engineering, and this is why that file is dangerous, right? Because it actually goes against this principle. Then we drafted our project requirements. We devised a plan based on that was in vertical slices. We made sure it was design-led, so that means I had HTML mockups for the screens, so I would be able to understand my observed versus expected findings. You know, we looked at corrections from reality, which is just doing a bit of kind of what a BA does. Just, you know, if we've made some assumptions about an interface or whatever, we've spec'd it out. And then we started to code, right? You know, it's a lot of work, right? But if you care about getting it right on one hit, you know, it would be very hard to do some complex stuff. If it's simple, don't get me wrong, if it's just a simple feature or bug fix, you can just do like a couple of piv loops, plan, implement, you know, and what's the V? I forget the V. Verify, plan, implement, verify. You know, there's like a piv loop, or you know, just an execution loop. Just go into plan mode. I want to do this thing. Help me. You know, I want to update the color in the UI. You know, no need to get into all this drama, right? But if you're doing something that's, you know, like creating an entire MVP, I find the best way to do it is to be really disciplined, so you don't have the kinds of problems that we've just been talking about. So this is just updating this HTML, which is actually this document that I've got right here. And so let's see, once that's done, we'll have a little scan of that, and then we're fully signed off, and we don't have to do this. And then what it's going to do also is, as you can see, this was set up as a chore. Can you see in Git? So this is a chore to just because it's just that one file, right? It doesn't need a full cycle. So let's go to it and let's check. It looks like it's already done because it's updating Git. So let's do that, and let's prove that theory by going all the way down and seeing if we actually proved it. Okay, classification now drives the shape of the answer. Right, the first UAT was a substance pass with one card missing. That was our card 14. So we've got a log of it, right? What it gave us, and then it tells us what's next, which we haven't adjusted. What's next is the C5 closed tonight, and it's saying up next, status line bridge, right? And all that kind of jazz. So yeah, it did do it. It did update it. And it's all done here. Main is all clean, all done. We ended on 294K for a complex implementation. All of our documentation was automatically updated. I just typed resume glitch build. And the only other time I typed was when I was copying and pasting from the UAT, pretty much, maybe a couple of other nuanced things. And that was it, right? And look at us. We've had magic happen tonight. So I'll clear the context. Okay, so I'll just ask it that. Okay to clear context, no issue then. And we're good, because I'm paranoid and I always ask it, because it always seems to come up with new things.
Always, yeah.
So I always like to ask it, just, you know, I don't need to, because I know that it's gone through this systematic check, and the better thing to do would be like pick the 2 or 3 things that you think are the most important, and just spot check them in your, you know, in VS Code, your ID, or even in just File Explorer, right? You just look at it here. You know, go to the root folder, which in this case is on my computer is glitch MVP, right? Look at planning documents, and then, you know, I've got my clean documents here, and I can just look, say, at my portability document. There's my VS Code. And what do we see here? It's saying Electron versus Tori, if I want to port from Electron to Tori, because that's something I might do for the real thing. And coupling points, Electron shell, pre-flight gates, yeah, it's all fine. And then let's have a look a little bit further. Let's have a look. So yeah, so this is just looking for Mac OS versus Windows. As we're developing, everything that needs to change between those two systems is being documented, because I don't want to finish the whole project, even if it's just an MVP, and then say, now I need to work out how to port it, right? Research the entire code base and work out everything for me, right? It won't work. It would just be a nightmare. So, you know, set up that infrastructure so that would work. Okay, good. Memory refined. Okay, yes, safe to clear. Okay, good. There we go. Boom. And so maybe you can stop me from sharing my screen and I can come back to this chat that I've not been able to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Oh, I'm back. Did we get any bots? Did we get any bots tonight?
Ooh, we got a few bots. We love our bots. Like building Jarvis,
helping our algo.
We have to have a soft spot for the bots.
Yeah, definitely. Got to respect the bots on their hustle. And for us, like, we're just getting into this swing, dude. You know, it's just nice to see something in the chat box, even if it's bots. You know, it's like you're talking to the ether. That's why I don't think I could do this without someone else like you, dude. I don't think I could do it.
The ether.
The ether. Yeah. How long have we been streaming for? We had a timer somewhere, don't we?
Yeah. We're at like 220.
Ah, it's okay. It's not bad. I mean, I'm gonna go to the bathroom if that's okay. And I don't know if you want me to wait for us to close. If you want to keep going, I don't mind either way. We can hit him up tomorrow. Oh, actually, that reminds me.
Wondering if there's some things that we could show right now. I'm like thinking to myself, ooh, could we show something?
I mean, there's a few things, but it just depends, right?
Yeah. Let me. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find some reels, some AI reels.
That's a good idea. Do you mind if I just quickly shoot to the bathroom?
Yeah,
I should probably mute myself, shouldn't I?
It's a good thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Fortunately, I can.
This thing is dangerous. This wireless thing is dangerous. You like end up going to the bathroom. Next thing you know, everyone's getting like the full audio.
Yeah, I've thought about it also just with respects to like, even if I'm not on a stream or anything, but I still walk around and I look down and I see it's green. I'm like, who's listening to this right now? Like, it's pretty funny.
Dude, it's terrifying, right? Do you know the other day I left my house to go get my kids, and I like got on the train, went halfway across like the UK to get them, whatever. Arrived there and this was still stuck on my shirt from like the morning because I just completely forgot it was there. And the amount of times I've like gone and put my clothes like in the laundry basket or whatever, and I've had this attached to it, and then I'm like, oh no, and I like run back to try and get it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll pull up some bills while you're gone. Oh, let's see, what do we got here? This is one of the things, if you are highly organized with all of your saved content, it makes it really easy to reproduce it and also to find it. One of the things I learned was one of the easiest ways to actually create viral reels is to take reels that are already viral and just recreate them, right? Use your own spin, add a little bit of your own flair, but use the same timing. the same clips, the same angles. It's just you. It's something that's unique to you, something that your audience will vibe with. One other absolute freaking hack when it comes to this. I paid a lot of money for an Instagram course to learn this, both for myself and also for clients. The hack is to use Instagram trials. Seriously, this hack is,
All right.
worth its weight in gold.
Okay, I'm back. I couldn't
What's
hear
up,
anything.
dude? All right, so we are going to watch a reel that I recreated. This one right here, we're not going to see the insights of the trial, but I was just telling the audience how important trial reels are and how you can just recreate popular reels. Just take them, split them apart, use the same scenes, except for any of the scenes that were that person, just recreate them on your own. And then add some sort of flair that's specific to you, something that you think is unique or would vibe with your people. So maybe you have your dog in every clip that has you, or maybe it's like one of the white monsters, right? Like whatever it is, as long as it's specific for you and you're remaking it in your style, not a big deal. Oh, here, I'm gonna share my screen. There you go.
Oh, there I am. I'm back.
Yeah, I got you.
I disappeared for a minute. Oh, I can hear myself.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
This is the voice inside your head.
Oh, it's because you can hear my anything that's playing on my system, so I gotta mute you real quick. Sorry about that. I muted you. Anyways, this has done almost 500,000 views on Instagram. So just gonna play it, and this was also someone else's originally. Like, I'm not gonna take credit for it. I added some additional text. I added some themes to it. We'll see if you guys can pick them up. Kem, we'll see if you can pick them up. So we're gonna hide this and then. All right, Kem, bring you back in. Stop there.
It's so funny seeing you do this stuff. I respect the hustle. I actually love that that whole meme, that trend of like was it do not hallucinate, fix what is why you end with / or like all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Fix hallucination or yeah. I'm actually gonna head to the bathroom as well real quick.
Cool. Does that
Give
mean
you the
stream's mine for a bit?
dude, it's yours.
It's just me and you now. This is what I like to call the midnight hour. Welcome. I'm here to make This is why I could never stream on my own, because the idea of just looking at a camera and talking is wild to me. Let's see if I can actually do something productive in the time that it takes. Like check out Instagram myself. Dudes, that's what I can show you sometime, is my like productivity approach by basically putting Instagram in my IDE and being able to like trigger it with my little finger to shift through reels. That's actually a lot of fun. And do all this fun stuff. Let's read some of these comments. What do we got? There you go. You're back. I didn't know what to do when you were gone. I was so I felt so uncomfortable. I was like,
what were you talking about? What'd you go off on?
I was like,
guru that was
no, I was like talking nonsense. I like looked at the camera and I was like, welcome to the Kem Hour.
Oh,
like,
Jose,
yeah.
We do have a chat. Jose Rugg by Reyes. Would you guys be interested in reviewing a tool I built? Dude, absolutely. Send it on over. Either
definitely.
you want to drop the URL of the tool that you built if you've pushed it to a domain, or
if it's on web for sure. If it's in a repo, we got to do a bit of security first. But scrolling through Instagram Reels within his editor. Oh, he's got the delay. We forget that there's a delay, dude. He's responding to something I said earlier. He's talking about when I was on my own talking ish at the camera. And I was, we should, Jose, man. If you got something, definitely send it over to you. We'd love to do that. We'd love to see. Hopefully, we can learn something too from it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just wait for you to catch up on the reel and we'll do that. Yeah, it's interesting. The delay, what is it, like 20, 30 seconds? So whatever you post, we don't see it. We're not used to that. We're new to the whole streaming thing, so we have no idea. We're just a bunch of dudes that are kind of practitioners and are looking to show people how to do some cool things and how they can like use it for themselves at any level.
Ooh. Oh crap, dude. I didn't, you know what? Talking about reels. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Jose, well, we keep an eye on chat for you.
We'll see.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you mine real fast. I actually made these the other weekend. This right here, this whole banana, peanut butter, chocolate, and then some sort of other topping on it. So
that looks good. Oh man, I'm hungry.
Yeah, and then you got.
This is banana bar. It's inspired by the viral date bar that's made with banana.
What's your favorite snack when you're like vibe coding?
Ooh.
Or coding?
Probably a beer.
Hold on. Jose, task CTL is called, but it doesn't let me type the L. And then instead of .com domain, it's .net domain. All right, let's have a look. Task CTL .net.
Ooh.
All right, sweet. Do you want to do it? Do you want to host it?
No, Jose, I hope you don't mind that we show your
oh yeah, we should. Let's wait and ask him if he minds.
Yeah, we'll I'll switch back.
Yeah, if you don't mind, can you just reply to him? Actually, can you reply to him in the chat if we type?
Yeah.
Can we just say to him like, we're working this out, the lag and stuff.
Sweet, he said not at all.
All right, let's ask him what it does first of all.
Yeah, that's a really good question. But just take a look at the UI first and foremost.
Oh, terminal task manager.
Yeah, focus, minimal, no distractions.
Examples: call dentist, hashtag help, due tomorrow, task status, fix server outage. Okay, cool. So it's got. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Jose, man, give us a little background. While you do that, I'm messing around with the themes. It's my favorite part. Oh, Windows 95 theme. Yes, my brother.
Do you want to show your screen?
Yeah, I will. I will share my screen.
Yeah, here. I'll switch over.
Let's do this. Let's give.
You're on infinite now.
Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm on infinite. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you
Okay.
up. So.
Add a task with a due date, tags, and people. Okay. Cool. But this, first of all, let's just talk about this because Windows 95 theme. You're my hero. I love that. Also, I like that you're not wasting time with anything but the necessities. So let's see. Let's read what he's saying we should be doing. Okay. It organizes your tasks automatically to what you should do next.
Hey,
so
by the way, we see infinite there. Oh, yeah.
So tasks. Let's do this. I'm going to add a task, right? So I'm going to say task. What? Oh, actually, let me just see the schema. So theme, help. Let's have a look. Task distraction-free terminal style task manager designed for focus. Tasks are entered as plain text with inline syntax for metadata. So it's like a YAML type situation. Okay, synopsis. We put title, priority, project, due date. We give it a tag. Okay, that's cool. So we can theme it. Examples. Here we go. So we say call dentist. Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to put my first task. Are you ready for this? Task. I'm going to go get a life. That's for my health. Due yesterday. Let's see if we can break it. And then how do I enter this? So just hit enter. Or do I have to create an account? Oh no, here we go. Here we go. Look, get a life, and it's red because there's no hope for me anymore in getting a life. And then once I'm done with it, I would do that, right? And that would mark it as done. Cool. Okay, let's add some more. Let's do call my ex-girlfriend. Hashtag why me? Due never. Okay, let's add this puppy. Call my ex-girlfriend. Why me? Okay, cool. Now we're gonna try organizing some of this. So let's go help. Let's see. We've got some examples here. Call dentist. We've got deploy. Okay, some standard tasks. Oh, priority. We want some priority. We want to add.
You can also mark it as done.
Yeah. Hold up.
Exclamation H or exclamation M or exclamation L for priority.
Right. So task, then priority when it's due, the tag at the person and the project. Okay, cool. You know what would be cool is as I type, if we leave some of that trail.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say, let's see what happens if we use this. Oh, here we go. Momentum. I started using it. I got my to-do list here. Okay, none of that's interactable. Progress bar's a little bit janky, but I like that. I like janky. Let's go. Let's switch it up to some Windows XP. Okay, let's go. Buy oat milk. Okay, I like this one. Let's do this. Let's do a task in progress is the first dash done. Okay, let's do a high priority one. Okay, let's go buy oat milk shopping, and let's go buy oat milk. Let's go buy beer, and let's go exclamation H because that's a high priority. Errands and shopping. Did I do that right? .h. Wrong syntax, right? Can I edit it now? Edit. Oh, okay. Okay, we can edit. You got to feedback what he's saying because I can't see anything. Okay.
Oh, that's all.
Okay. How does this go? Oh, at the end. Okay. Let's edit. Okay, I'm not sure how to do that. I'm not sure that's syntax. That's in progress. And then done. All right. So it's a to-do list. I'm guessing you've got some filtering stuff because there's a bunch of other things here. Filtering. Yeah, man. What do you want to do with it? How do you use it? No fluff. Are you planning on expanding it? Let's have a look. Oh, let's stop. Yeah. Let's stop sharing screen.
We gotta get you a new screen.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I've got the new setup coming.
Kind of send us into infinity.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Am I safe to like rock over?
Yeah, you're good now. Okay,
sweet. Okay, you can use exclamation H medium of priority. Yeah, dude. Did you how'd you make it? Did you like code it yourself? Did you use AI? Did you like what inspired it? What's the vision? You're just learning, you're playing, you want to do something with it. Like, what's your vision? How far do you want to take it? It's completely anonymous. Can make an account with only a username and password. Okay, so no auth. Well, there is auth, but it's database-led auth. No email. Is there any way to interact? Then you have the ability to type in something in natural language, like without the tags and stuff, and it'll turn it into a task. Okay. And can you, has it got any interface? Like, can I hook something up? Like you could use something like an MCP. You could create an MCP and then you get all those AI junkies. Don't know any of those, but you might find some that like would then be able to just say to like their system, like, oh, can you just update this thing for me? Like, here's my username and passwords, put it on env variables, and boom, off you go to the races. I love seeing people share stuff, dude.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's so nice, man.
It's refreshing. It's refreshing also to see an app that is not clearly lovable, like one of the generic just AI UIs. Like
I've seen so much. Yeah, I've seen so many productivity apps and to-do lists, and I do think there is something to be said about products that are just like raw, simple, keep it real. But with something like this, it's web-based. I'd want to be able to automate the interaction with it. Like I'd want to have like MCP or some kind of interface. I was planning on firstly adding passkey-based auth, right? So completely passwordless is what I wanted. Yeah. Is that like the theme you want to go with? Are you trying to like hack the planet? Are you trying to keep it purely anon? Where's the data stored? What database are you running to store those credentials? What's your backend like? Because you've probably got quite a simple schema, because you've got free format values. You have a structure for the filtering and tagging, which is cool. But I'm wondering, like, where are you storing it? Have you got some kind of like Postgres situation going on, or SQLite? Yeah, nice. Good. And that's interesting. So are you running the SQLite locally? Is that just like, have you just got it in that project directory that you've got out there on the web? SQLite would work great for something like this. 7 days, no activity, it gets deleted. Your account is done. There is no recovery also. I kind of like that. That's like Snapchat vibes.
Yeah.
So I added an export. No, take out the export, dude. Take out the export. Leave it as like that. You know what? You can leave someone messages in the tasks, give them your password and login, and then just say to them, this message will self-destruct in 7 days. And like you send them some notification. Yeah, that's fun, man. So what inspired the idea? Like, what are you trying to do with it? That's fun, man. Is your background in like, are you learning to code? Are you like vibing? Are you using AI? That's the bit I'm curious about. Are you still playing with that? I got it up here. What's your favorite color scheme theme, Chase?
Oh, I settled on the red one. Third down, dark red.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What's your go-to theme, Jose? You said you on the server and it's backed up every day. Okay, are you backing it up with something like what's it called, Cloudflare or something like that?
I bet he's probably running it on Linux, probably on Ubuntu.
I think so. I have ADHD, lol. It's good for me. Yeah, man. I just wanted to add something without thinking. I like to be told what I just need to finish and do next without thinking about it. Amber theme. Okay, let's check it out. I haven't seen Amber theme. Let me have a look.
Amber theme looks good.
I haven't seen it. Where's Amber? Is that dark orange? No. Oh, Amber. CRT Amber. Oh. Yeah. That reminds me of what's it called? There's a classic terminal theme. Let me find it.
Looks nice.
This stuff was driving me. This would drive me mad in the terminal, man. I'd go mad with this theme. Some people just love these colors.
Dude, well, I wonder, Jose, if you saw this. This was a recent cyber breach.
Yeah, this is a nasty one, man. You should be aware of it.
Yeah, I want to say, okay, 7.8 on a 0 to 10 scale.
Yeah, dirty fraggot. Oh, I can hear myself through you, Jason.
Oh, sorry. It's probably because I'm sharing screen and I'm sharing audio too. Let me, what about now?
It's good to go.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah, running on Linux, React. Yeah, makes sense for web UI. Express.js.
Darren, we can drop this link in the chat too and share it if you
yeah, let's share it, man. Let's share it.
Yeah.
Let's share it with all of the streams.
Share it with them all.
Yeah, go make some to-do lists, guys, and tell people it will self-destruct. Yeah, thanks for helping us like test as well. Like we've just started doing this, Jose. So like you're like literally like the first human that we've had come check us out. This is only like day 2. So I'm super grateful to have you here, man. And like we love just talking about everything code, like for truth seekers and specifically AI, of course. And we're both people that have like we're practitioners. We've worked in that space. We're a little bit ADHD ourselves, so we relate. So like, you know,
True.
It's good to have you here, brother. And like, you know, keep coming along, man. We'd love to talk to you more. And if you've got anything you want us to like check out, I do. It's so welcome, man. I love checking out what people create, man. Anytime. Yeah. And if you want us to have some fun with it, maybe we can have you ever set up like an MCP server? Which is like, it's like an API interface just for, oh, you built the whole thing using Codex. CLI. Okay. Yeah, we like, I like Codex. I like the latest model. We're doing a lot of stuff in Claude Code at the moment. You know, we're building, I don't know how much of the stream you saw, but you should check out the stream. We're building like a pretty cool system, like from the ground up, like truly showing you everything, like the stuff that you just don't get on this Instagram reel nonsense, like the real way to do it, the right way to approach it, how to set up, create algorithms and cool things, even if like you're new to it, like if you're just like, you know, I've been software dev for a decade now.
Sick.
Yeah. Cool. I'm curious then, like as a developer, Like I always like talking to other people that have developed. Like as a developer, how are you using AI day to day? Like have you shifted to like full like agentic engineering workflows, or do you just use it to help you like build quick tools? Like where do you end and where does the AI begin for you? I'm so pumped to have someone in the chat, Chase. I'm like, it's really like picked up my energy, man. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh look, it's the first time we've actually bothered to get a chat on the screen. Yeah.
Let's see, should we go
This is a good opportunity for us to test the chat window, right? See the scale and stuff. You're helping us, Jose, because you're helping us like set it up and get the we're just working out how to like get it all, yeah, visualize and stuff.
do our testing.
You're part of our UAT, dude. Yeah. See, I love it, man. Software dev, 10 years, just using some CLI. Like, why not?
And it's so cool what can be built nowadays too, so quickly.
Yeah.
Kem, out of curiosity, what's next on our agenda for building Glitch?
Dude, we're gonna do some like things that make it look pretty. So like we're gonna put like well, use it every step. Use your agents. Yeah. So you set up agents to basically allocate tasks to. That's cool. Yeah. We're gonna set up all the pretty stuff, Chase. Like we're gonna do let's have a look. Matt Pocox. Yeah, I know Matt. Matt has a pretty do you know what I like about Matt? Matt does something I do, Chase. He's got the same vertical slice methodology. He's a really cool guy. He's British. Grill me, yeah. So the idea of grill me, Chase, if you've not come across it, it's a skill that basically is like a pre-PRD for like smaller features. And it's a bit like
I like it.
yeah, it's kind of like it's really simple. It's like a few lines. That's kind of what's so beautiful about it. And it just says grill me, like ask me a bunch of questions to help like navigate the build. You convert it to a PRD. Do you focus on like vertical slices? That's something Matt Pocock likes to talk about. I do the same. Yeah, that's a pretty cool approach. Let's have a look. Glitch. Let me share my screen. I should probably share my screen, right?
Yeah, and I'll have to
What's that?
I'll have to. I got to run down and grab Dakota, my puppers.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cute.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some pretty like usage, like 5-hour usage limit, like a little couple of rings, you know, like Apple style, like fitness rings. And we're gonna put in here a cool little like all the key like status line stuff that we need. So we're going to do some pretty looking things, and then we're going to fix the algorithm page to show the nodes for anything that we're doing in the actual algorithm itself. What does he say here? He said a few other things. He said to convert to PRD, and then I dev that out. It's a sick process. It really helps the thing. Yeah. So like I do. Where's my process here? So I kind of do something similar. So this is one of my build
Kem,
summaries.
I'll be back in a bit.
All right, cool. So I do something similar, Jose, right? So what like it depends on the size of the project. Like if it's just a small project and a small feature, then something like a plan, implement, verify loop, like a piv loop, something like that works really well. Just do like a grill me, do like a, yeah, exactly, like an equivalent of grill me. Yeah, get some kind of design led spec like a PRD, like you said, and go into kind of a plan mode of some kind to then phase it out depending on the scale. But on larger projects, you know, really big projects like this, where I'm doing, you know, full front to back architecture and so on, like I'll start with like a lot of research, right? Everything. And research is deep, you know. If I've got reference material, I'll sometimes even do like code trace level research. I've got these really cool AI skills for that. It's more of a compute issue really than anything else. Then an alignment interview is a bit like Grill Me, but it's more about when you work with AI, different models have different inference, which is basically a word that just means even though you're telling it what to do, like some models are really good at like understanding you and like translating what you're trying to say to it. But some models need a really clear, specific direction. And so you'll give them like a brief, you'll answer their questions, and I'll use like my whisper flow, and I'll just be talking and walking around. And then sometimes they'll understand, but there'll be a couple of things that aren't quite right. And that's what that point is, like alignment, like to make sure that you're both exactly on track, right? Because those little things, you might say something that looks really small, and the AI doesn't understand, it does something crazy, right? And you're like, why did you do that? And like, because you said this, and you're like, oh my God, right? So alignment interview. Then I go to like a design spec, like a PRD. It can be a PRD, it can be an FRD, it doesn't matter, right? But just some kind of documentation. I never read the PRD, right? Because it's usually quite big and I can't be bothered to read it. So I make sure that the heavy lifting is done here. And then I do deep planning. And this is where I go into like kind of a little bit like what Matt does, like vertical slices. I find this works really well. And then I do design led. So let's say like I'm building something. Let's say I'm doing like a UI, like a shell. So this was the original design, right? And I want to see it visually, right? I want to make sure that any UI stuff looks a certain way so that when I create it, it actually looks like it was intended, right? So I do a lot of that stuff. So that's my design-led piece. So I make sure I got all these HTML mockups and I can look at it and I got a good feel for what it is. I'm doing back middleware and front end, right? And then I start executing on the slices, right? A little bit like what I did today, right? And so that's the general approach that I take. I've now got you back on screen so I can see you. I haven't got my second monitor. I'm just rejigging my setup. So I've got a second monitor. I'm not one of these guys that likes 5 monitors. I hate that. It keeps me really distracted. I don't want to be like looking around. My neck hurts. So I got one monitor, really large monitor, and I got a second monitor coming because my other one broke. And then I got a laptop and I put it in shell mode. Let's have a look at what you've been saying. And the thing I really enjoy keeps being short. Yeah. How often do you close and restart your session? How do you manage context? Excellent question, brother. I could talk to you for 3 hours about context management, right? It's something that I really care about. I've got some strict rules, right? And I just want to, in fact, you know what? I'm going to show you I'm going to talk to you about context management. Let's see if I can have okay. Let's go to, okay, never mind. I won't do it now. Okay, let's imagine the context. So we've got 1 million token context, right? So there's this great research by a group, Stanford and a couple of others, that I'll talk about the PRD in a second. Actually, let me do the PRD first, then we'll talk about context London. The reason I don't read the PRD is because the PRD is already really, really long, right? And it's very hard for me as a human to synthesize all of the detail. I'm going to miss something, right? So what I do is I apply discipline before and after. So before, in the alignment, I really, really, really lock in the alignment so the context is strict. I have very strong quality gates, right? So all of the slices, before the slice is implemented, I get a full breakdown of exactly what the PRD links are using skills, and I review it then. And if something is misaligned, I correct it then. That loops back to the plan, and it's updated, and it also updates other parts of the plan that are affected in the blast radius. So reading the PRD can help, but it's kind of a time sink for me because the rest of my process kind of focuses on managing all of that stuff, right? And there's so many other checks that I do along the way. So as long as that beginning alignment part is done, I'm locked in. Like I have no issues. And I've done small things and I've done really big complicated things. And I've learned a lot along the way. And I just find it easier, man. But you know, I would never say it's wrong to read a PRD, right? So that's that. But let's talk about context management. So you got a million tokens. You got this idea. I don't know if you're familiar with like the idea of context rot or attention sinks. Yeah, so cool. So you got a million tokens, right? Now here's the thing. It's a bit of an illusion, right? So we had 200K, and what we knew about that 200K context window was that as you go further and further along, and the tokens begin to compound, right? There's lots of different things that can happen, right? And the three most common bad ones are that as the window grows, you get this U-shaped curve, right? I'll try and do it like this. Okay, U-shaped curve, so like this, yeah? U-shaped curve, like an A, yeah, like an A for umbrella. And what happens is the ability for the AI coding agent to find stuff gets worse and worse. It focuses on what's in the very beginning, and it focuses on what's really recent, but it loses all the stuff in the middle. So you want that middle to be as light as you can, right? That's called attention sinks. You get this other thing called context rot. It's a little bit more complicated, but it gets worse as you go through context. And basically that's where you have the chance for things like, and there's lots of things, but things like hallucination. Maybe you're trying to fix a bug, a different thing to hallucination, but you're trying to fix a bug. It tries a few times, it's getting hacky, and it gets caught up in trying to fix it, that it starts to completely deviate from the plan. Things like that, right? So there's a couple of rules with context, like if it fails at a bug fix 2 times, stop and follow another workflow. We can talk about that another time. So that's the basics. So when they extended the token limit, the window limit, the context limit to 1 million, all they did was make that problem worse. Yes, so my own system, when I get to like 180K or 170K, I'm already like, oh, dangerous territory. So the question I have to ask myself is, what is the job of the agent at that time? If I'm coding, I want to probably stop. Now, if my development slices or my phases, whatever you want to call it, right, is too long and it's going past that, my planning is bad, right? It means that I need to break down the features more, right? Make them more atomic, right? It's difficult when you're vertical because you want to build the back, the middle, and the front, right? And so you can see everything, but you need to make the slice, the slice thinner, right? And so how do I handle it? Well, literally, I do a number of things. I try and allocate, depending on the quality of the plan, you can do a lot of sub-agent allocation to use their context windows. I'm just going to read a couple of things before I continue. I don't want to, because I could talk about this for hours, right? So it makes sense because of the alignment. Yeah, okay. Is the only when agents are running for a long time because my longest session is the planning. Yeah, got me. But then after my PID, they get made into GitHub issues. Yeah, so all your features, all your bugs get into GitHub issues. And I just dev each slice. Yeah, right. That works. That totally works. Yeah, so here's an interesting thing. So with some of these problems, like I'll give you an example. I've got this deep workflow, the administrative workflow. So let's say I've completed the thing and I've done all my Git stuff, merge and all that stuff. And then basically I update things, right? I update the plan. I might do, like in this project, because it's really big, I update like documents for portability, like what are the difference between OS and Windows, because things I need to remember. Documentation as I go, right? So that my system can do things like self-healing in the future, because I don't want to suddenly finish the project and then go, can you document everything about the project, right? You want to do it as you go because it's just too much to handle. So like all these little administrative tasks, lesson learned, features that I think of that I want to put in the next version, you know, all this kind of stuff, problems, lessons, you know, everything has to be done. And this is really like a lot. It could be like 200,000 tokens, right? But because it's just updating stuff and it's just systematic, and the attention only has to be right there in the front, the last thing that it's done, you can go to like 400K tokens, right? And not be nervous about these problems. But if you're doing something like coding, especially across multiple files, like, so you got to think about that, right? Like, it depends on what you're coding, then it's much more of an issue. But there's lots of ways you can deal with it, right? So one thing that you can do is you can set up it depends on what you work in. Codex can do some pretty cool stuff too. But in Claude Code, you can do a couple of things that are quite neat. You can do things like set up your main agent, say your terminal window that you're talking to, as an orchestrator. And you can ask him to create a team of agents, like sub-agents, right? Except they can communicate and a couple of other things. You can do something similar in Codex. And they have fresh context windows, right? So if they're just fulfilling a brief, you can just really break these down atomically and then just allocate it to them. And so all the orchestrator is doing is just checking things. And the moment they've done their little task within, say, your GitHub issue, right, they drop off and a new agent spawns. So you can do these longer cycles of coding without having to worry about the context window getting out of hand, right? So all of these things we're discussing, they all come together. There's so many other tricks, right? But generally, the moment I'm done and like any skills or whatever for like admin updates and whatever else I've done, I just shut the whole thing down, right? A clear context, exit the session, whatever it is, open up a new window, and I start from scratch, because the documentation and the master context in the directory that I'm developing in has got everything I need, right? It has the session state persistence, it knows where I am, blah, 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 right? So that's kind of my general rule. I can go much, much deeper on this, right? Because I would say the most valuable lesson anyone can learn is context management, right? It's more important than prompt engineering or something like that. So yeah, when you said when an agent encounters a problem, or help from a human, it's idle, or lets you know. Yeah, good question. So this is all about how you prepare the agent, right? Because if you think of an agent's just a prompt, right? And so you can prompt your orchestrator in Claude. If you use a sub agent, that's just like a thing that just runs off and does like a prompt. It's like giving one prompt and it goes off, and they can't really talk. All that can happen is that the output at the end can get read, right? And this guy can decide if it's good or bad, and he has to do it again, but he can't talk to him. But there's a thing like in agent teams, and if you have things like if you're operating on, like, say, Mac OS, which is great, you can use things like CMux and TMux, and you can get the orchestrator to literally negotiate with multiple agents in real time. It can check things, correct things, they can argue, they can do all sorts of really cool, neat stuff, right? And we can show you that sometime, right? But
one thing too that I want to throw in there with Tmux that is especially impressive is the fact that you can actually interject while it's doing the work.
Yeah.
So I think there are a few routes where you can actually view what the sub agents are doing, and you can take a closer inspection. But to actually be able to jump in and interject whenever you see a sub agent, or one of the ones that's being orchestrated going off in the wrong direction, that's really useful.
Yeah, because when you send off a sub agent, Jose, like, it's almost like a black box. Like, you're just hoping that the prompt was good enough, which is great when you're just trying to manage context and you just want the sub agent to go off and do the work, because you've got a very strict PRD. And like you said, I think you said you use GitHub issues, which is really great. So it knows exactly what it needs to do. So you're not really nervous, because it's going to do the thing, it's going to tick it off. But what about if it finds a bug? Are you expecting it to fix it? Or do you want it to come back? Yes. So if you use Tmux and CMux, you can communicate. They're the orchestrator, which is like your main terminal that loads them all up, right? can literally talk to them. And if you've got CMux and TMux, you can actually see new windows will pop up, new terminal windows, and you'll see like all of them talking to each other. Yeah, I wish I had my Mac OS plugged in. I'd show you in real time.
I know. I was just thinking, like, I don't run it on the WSL here.
Yeah, so when you set up an agent, you really want the prompt to be really good. I do a lot of like evaluation as well. Like a lot of fun projects are like evaluations. If you want to get stuck in some ADHD stuff, like get prompts and start like editing them. And unfortunately, this is why I like Anthropic quite a lot. Codex is great, by the way. Like OpenAI is awesome. 5.5 is sick. I love it. It does lots of cool shit. Excuse my French. But in Claude, they've got some really good like tools. Yeah, like this agent system they've got to like refine agents and evaluate them is really great. I'm not sure if Codex has something similar. I can't remember. But Codex has got a whole bunch of amazing stuff, right? So I'm not, it's the same, but it's just something that I use quite often. How much is driven by tests for you guys? Yeah, a lot. It depends on the system, right? I always split tests two ways. I let the AI handle everything programmatic. So everything that's like in the terminal, I just say to the AI, like, what tests can you define? I just trust it and I let it kind of do it, right? And then I always have extensive UAT, like user acceptance testing, right? And so I always make sure I've got, and they make sense. And I use this principle, which is, I don't know if I'm not showing my screen, but
no, you're not.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you the, I'm going to give you.
You need me to share now?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, I got you.
So thank you, bud. So I use this, this principle of verify no theater, right? Which is an old thing, right? It's observed versus expected. So the idea is that any test, if the result does not match the spec, we diagnose, right? And so what this means is all of my UAT tests. So for example, if I'm creating a shell, I have to know what I'm expecting to see before the test is even issued. If I haven't understood that, then there's an issue with the alignment. So everything should be exactly as I expect it. And that means the UAT is a very obvious process and it's very easy to debug. And in fact, I don't know when you can probably take me off of share now, bud. Yeah, sorry, I know I'm such a pain for that stuff.
Such a pain. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
you're all good.
Thanks, bud. So I guess what I'm saying is, Jose, is that if you watched our coding session today or yesterday, I do a lot of that. You'll see a lot of me doing that stuff. So yeah, and I'd love to talk to you about. You're getting like the VIP treatment because you're the only person in the chat at the moment. But yeah, we could talk for days about ways you can do this. All the way from like enterprise scale to personal little projects, because it changes. If it's a small task, you don't need many tests, but you should have test-driven designs. And if you can allocate those tests to agents, if they're really programmatic and easy to verify, like not like UI stuff where you should really check it yourself, then that's fine. And now you can even allocate some of the UI stuff, right? Chase has a system where he can even get frames of videos on video AI work, right? Where it will take images every frame, and then the agent will actually visually inspect that. Mm-hmm. Or Chrome, you can run AI through Chrome where it takes like snapshots and uses the screen. And OpenAI is obviously the king of this because it has that access to your computer, so it can do all those mouse clicky stuff and actually check things. So you can even allocate some of that to it if you set up the right systems for it. Yeah, for sure.
I could actually even showcase that right now.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, I will. Let's see.
Maybe use one of your like real life like systems, like your like when someone wants to raise an issue with like where you like take a video of the test or something like that.
Yeah, my personal system's a little broken right now, and I can't show client work. But I could at least show this right here. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, they are Jose. They are huge. They are huge workflows. A lot of it is pipeline stuff, which you verify in structured formats like JSON. But the good news is, it sounds really complicated, but the truth is, once you've got the design pattern, you can automate most of that and make it really standardized. And actually, it sounds a lot harder than it really is with AI. You can just prompt this stuff most of the time. You just need to know what you're looking for and have a couple of people willing to show you, like us, you know, and we're happy to show you. So, you know, this is not stuff you need to be intimidated by. Not saying that you are, but like, you know, it's not stuff you need to be concerned about. Yeah, have a look at this. What is this? A video ripper? Oh yeah. This is a good example.
Yeah, so this is like where I keep a bunch of my personal dashboards for different topics.
Tools.
Something like Kem you talked about in the beginning of the stream, you know, we iterate over. So currently in an iteration, so a few of the channels are broken, but what this does is this is for viral Instagram reels. And so you can take an Instagram reel, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, upload it here, and it actually will split the audio from one version, and then it will also go through and it'll split out all of the scenes for you. So it detects where the scenes change, if the frame changed, and break all of those apart. And then you can really easily reproduce those using a lot of the same scenes and then creating the same length for the other scenes that maybe they require actually recording something in person, right? So it could be like a movie scene for a few seconds, then like an in-person scene for a few seconds, and then back and forth. So this just makes it really easy where you can create those. Well, the ticketing system, Kem, that you were talking about is right here where I can click record screen and it'll go ahead and start recording the screen for me as I go through and describe exactly what I want to change. So either if there's a feature that needs to be added or if there's a bug in here, I'll go through, I will actually perform the task, the actions to showcase what the feature or the bug's going to be. And then I can upload that, and I upload it to a ticketing system that has some AI agents. And I say AI agents, it's really just a workflow. There we go.
Yeah, that's good. So you got the screen
Yep.
transcript, you got the recording, and then it breaks down that recording frame by frame as static images like PNGs, right?
Well, so not frame by frame necessarily, but it instead first takes the transcript. So, well, first transcribes the audio, right? And then takes the transcript, analyzes it, and it looks to understand when I'm describing what I'm doing. And so based on the timestamps of the descriptions that I give, it's going to
which you got there, yeah.
Yep, and then it's going to take those screenshots and it's going to analyze those.
So these markers, these timestamps are related to the feedback as you're moving on screen. So say your cursor's on something and you're saying, I've got an issue here, it will take a screenshot of that and it will understand from that image that you've recorded within that timestamp how to address it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's quite a neat little solution. Yeah.
So right now, you don't see a recording preview. That's because I'm switching everything over from Cloudinary to Cloudflare R2 bucket, just because it's super dirt cheap to store all of your large video files in a Cloudflare R2. It's like, it's pennies relative.
Yeah, it's free most of the time. You know, And actually, you should answer this question. He wants to know what do you guys do for a living? Are you software devs?
That's a really so for a living, actually freelance and build AI systems. So like for myself, I used to do research for the government in chemistry and physics, and then learned software through the instruments that I'd run, but by no means an actual like trained software dev. And then just the last couple of years, I've learned AI quite well and like dove into it, spent as much of my free time as possible, and then now do it full time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to tell people like our profiles. Thanks for that, Jose. You're making us realize how bad we are at this. Yeah, so my background is I used to work in data management for large enterprises like investment banks. So I used to head up installing full data management across the bank, from everything from lineage graph architectures, knowledge graph. I used to run large teams, like 100 plus enterprise level. And now I just kind of have that whole same hacker mentality I've had my whole life. And I just hack at systems, and I just do AI full time as a practitioner. So business education now, that's going to be our new thing, right? We want to do education, and we want to demystify all this stuff, right? There's a lot of gurus out there, there's also some really good people. I would say I'm not a great programmer, but I try, and I just try and fumble my way through, but I know a lot of good people, and they help me, and we share what we understand, and I can always direct you to someone that I think will have your answer, even if I don't have it. So that's kind of the vibe and what we're doing. And actually, right now, I'm really passionate about building a really unique harness, right? Because there's a big trend at the moment about operating systems and things like that. And I keep getting frustrated by these reels that I see because they're kind of theater, Jarvis, it's kind of fun. But I actually want to show my take on it. And Chase and I have been building these systems for a long time. And now we're doing it from the ground up, because of all the new stuff that we've learned, all the mistakes we made, all the maintenance problems.
And I really think so much of this comes down to this problem that I see it throughout the community, throughout the AI development, throughout the personal AI assistant space. I see it manifesting, and yet no one really wants to talk about the elephant in the room, which is this degradation of performance. Whenever you take your system from being just a full stack development system to rather managing your life. And my suspicion is that your life just has such different facets to it that context management is considerably more difficult. So even though coding takes more tokens, you burn through them way faster, the management of like personal life, like a true Jarvis, Tony Stark's Jarvis, that is actually fundamentally so much more difficult, which is where I see everyone eventually, that's like what people are going to have to solve.
Yeah,
Right.
especially like the layers that are required for it. Like no one's really solved memory, so like having clever solutions like little 60 megabit local models running on SQLite, right, to do certain tasks programmatically, like so that making the entire harness be less about AI, 80% kind of code. You can use AI to make that code, right, and to run that code and to test that code, but fundamentally you want the model just to do what it's really good at, and you want other models that can help in your own architecture to manage things like memory and have persistent systems. And when you want to introduce things like, RAG or graph or whatever it is that you think you want to try out, right? It's about the architecture first, right? So like understanding the complexity of that. And I think what I'm really passionate about is letting people know that this stuff isn't as hard as people think, but no one's also communicating it correctly at the moment in public. The people that know about it don't make education content, unfortunately. So we want to kind of help fill in that gap, right? And say, hey, listen, anyone can do this. We're not going to gatekeep this, right? This is knowledge everyone should have. And we just want to show you how we do it. We want to share what we do. We want to have an open source attitude towards it and just be like, everything is free. We want to give everyone value. And hopefully we can start shifting the story a little bit over time and get some more credibility, because there are great people out there doing great things, but it's signal and noise, right? It's like trying to find the good signal in the noise. It's really difficult because there's so much, just
Honestly,
change the game,
I honestly can't imagine not doing this all day and knowing even where to start. Like, because there's just so many starting spots, right? And there's so many people out there that are very credible in the fact that they've been around for a long time. Maybe they have background in adjacent fields that are seem credible or seem relevant. but there really is something to be said of just doing it nowadays. Like you can't, there is no substitute to just working with AI every single day, day in and day out, experiencing these idiosyncrasies, these
the problems, the edge cases,
patterns. Yeah,
making the mistakes. You know, that's what being a dev is all about, right? That's the only way you get better, is by doing. And so it doesn't matter how much someone loves it and how much they research it. If they're not implementing it and if they're not scaling it, then they're not really in a position to educate on it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why when you mentioned Matt, was it Pocock? You know, I thought, well, at least you're not listening to someone that's a complete idiot, right? That's someone that does have a good idea about this stuff. You know, I like Matt. You know, a different philosophy to me, but it's not someone that doesn't know. But there's a lot of people out there that really don't know. And unfortunately, they're educating a lot of people in, I think, the wrong way. And I don't think it's even necessarily malicious. I think it's just that they don't even know. It's that Dunning-Kruger effect that you talk about, Chase, right? Like, you know, like they're just at the top of the hill and they think they know enough that they can educate people, but actually they just haven't realized how little they actually know, you know, because they haven't come across the problems.
I think that's where we're kind of seeing this merger too of the automation space with the software development space.
Yeah.
Right. And then AI is kind of like merged in between there somewhere.
That's right.
And so you have people that were previously, and some people I'm close with that I think are awesome human beings, but they're talking about how easy it is nowadays to just spin up software with AI. And let's be real, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, it's good. It's easy to spin up a quick MVP. It's easy to
quick
spin up
MVP.
A fun little app, you know, a small thing like that. That's very doable now with good discipline. That's really doable. But you have, there's a lot more to it when you want to have an integrated architecture, you know, with complicated things going on, you know, algorithms, memory layers, context managers, automated code and deterministic skill architectures, safe autonomy, you know, where you want to send an agent off to do things and scheduling and all this kind of stuff. When you want that all to work together in harmony and you want to have the right guardrails and the right controls, that's a very complicated system, you know, altogether, you know?
Yeah. I know I've shared this before this reel, but this I think is so true of the AI space right now. And this comes from one of my best clients who pays most of my bills, being enterprise, right? Like, so
I love this video.
Yeah. Let me make sure actually I'm sharing audio, because let me just stop and okay, let's show camera, let's show screen. Nope. Never mind, my screen disappeared. That's
I can see your YouTube. While you do that, I'll answer the question.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Okay, go on.
This is interesting. We have a third member here, me. Anyways.
It's the window player at the bottom with the play. Rewind it in case you missed it. Look, it's just the video playing. It's so funny. The future is here. Yeah, it's so funny with the windows. It's just such ignorance, isn't it? It's technology, like just no understanding of what he's actually seeing and doing. That's AI all over right there. That is it. That is it personified. But yeah, to your point, you said something I really liked, Jose. You said it's really interesting to me how some people have become AI experts without software experience, which is really interesting, but cool at the same time. It is cool, man. It is cool. Mm-hmm. This idea that people are getting hated on because they've suddenly become interested in code, and the language barrier, you know, to learn to code from scratch, it's a hard, long journey, you know. And the fact that they can jump ahead so quickly and they can start taking the ideas in their head and make the mistakes and learn how to break things and fix problems is super cool. Like I love seeing people, who are completely new to this, who have been intimidated in the past, getting stuck in, and they're asking me about like databases. You know, like, how would you do? I'm on Superbase, and I'm like, oh, why are Superbase? You know, and I give them a full speech about, you know, databases, and they love it, and they're like, oh, really? And I'm like, finally, I can talk to someone about databases. You know, it's like, you know, so it's really it's super fun. It's super cool. I love that everybody at every level, and I love that there's good critique now. There's like the anti-AI people, there's the all-in AI people, there's the people in the middle, people talking about pipelines and workflows. I think it's all welcome, you know, because that's kind of what makes it an interesting environment to be in, you know, for sure. Oh, how long have we been going?
Almost 3.5, bro.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to kind of cut it. It's like 10:40 my time I'm in the UK. Chase is out in Denver. Use Superbase. Yeah, Superbase works for a number of use cases, right? But it's just my point was more about understanding when it's useful, when it's not, when to self-host it, when not to, you know, and everything that goes with it. Yeah, dude, we'll work something out. You should definitely. We usually stream around the same time at the moment. We're just getting going, so we haven't worked it out. But just follow. You got a huge app that you built, took you about 8 months. That's what we should be checking out.
Dude, yeah, would love to. Drop it in the chat here and we'll take a look, dude.
Yeah. Now you want to rebuild it with AI. That's cool.
Dude, sometime we'll have to talk to one of the first ventures that a partner and I focused on was building it was like an AI orchestration platform. So it's like WhatsApp for your AI agents where you could talk to any of them. But this was pre-Claude code. This was back in like the N8N make, like, back quite a while ago.
You don't have the resources or time. Rugby Codex.
The audio and text,
yeah, we can teach you some clever workflows to have it working from Telegram, man. Like while you're out and doing whatever you got to do, you can just get your stuff going. If you had a system like ours with Glitch, you could do all that coding just when you're at work, when you're busy, when you're working out. Teach you how to set it up, you know.
Kem, I was just thinking too, we're going to turn a bunch of these into skills that we add into the system.
Absolutely, like you'll be able to take a lot of the stuff that we teach just out the box, man. So just keep following, keep connected. That really helps us. We're just starting, so any follows, any likes, any comments, even if you're the first person, dude, we'll never forget you. You're the first person, dude. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Takes coach audio and transcribes it as they watch film. That's cool. Then lets them find moments and tags players, etc. That's dope. Yeah, I'd love to check that out.
Yeah. All right, brother. I'm gonna have to take my Aussie out. My puppy.
No doubt. Anyway, should we do our exit theme song?
Yes, sir. Let's
All right, peace out.
Next time.